The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with White and Mackay, where wit, wisdom and experience still make occasional last-minute appearances. Smoothly does it.
Babe, it's Jem. Just voice noting you because I'm so busy. I can't even type right now. I'm working on that big presentation for my new launch. I'm making it on Canva Mobile like you suggested. And it's making everything iconic. Sorry it's a bit noisy, babes. Marbs is going off. Anyways, I'm going to ping the presentation to you now so you can see what I mean.
Madam.
Gotta go, hun. Thanks for introducing me to Canva. Love ya.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like warehouse operations manager.
Where are the forklifts?
I sold them. They were too expensive. I got a great deal on these scooters, though.
You expect us to move a 2-ton pallet on a scooter?
It'll be fun. Just think of the core strength you'll build. This is a job for sponsored jobs.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. So the next time you need someone to get the job done right, get matched with quality candidates with an Indeed sponsored job. Visit Indeed.com/nexthire and sponsor your job today.
Get the new Samsung Galaxy S26 on the UK's best network. Circle to search an outfit and find the entire look without switching apps. And claim a Samsung Galaxy Chromebook Go worth £299. Get yours on EE today.
Results may vary depending on visual matches. Eligibility, credit check and terms apply. Claim from Samsung within 30 days of purchase. Verify best network at ee.co.uk/claims.
At Tesco, we know that beans
means Heinz.
And you love to ask, have you had yours? All of you.
Love it.
Hate it. And because I'm worth it. When you need low prices on brands you love, like 150 grams of Heinz beans, 12-pack of Weetabix, 250 grams of Marmite, or 700 millilitres of L'Oreal Elvive Colour Protect shampoo, look out for the Everyday Low Prices logo in-store and online. Tesco. Every little helps. Everyday Low Prices includes thousands of products across the majority of larger stores and online. Prices held until the 10th of May. Selected branded products only.
It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard. It's the final weekend of pre-split fixtures with two of the top three in action today. Celtic are at home to St Mirren, while leaders Hearts host Motherwell. Aberdeen take on Hibs, Kilmarnock face Dundee, and Livingston travel to Dundee United, with Rangers away to Falkirk tomorrow. I'm Andrew Maclean. Joining me in the studio are Gordon Dalziel, Fraser Wishart and Hugh Keevins.
They are under starters' orders at Celtic Park and at Tynecastle as the Premiership title race approaches Beecher's Brook. A fall now and the consequences could be fatal for Derek McInnes or Martin O'Neill. And the hurdles are just as steep for Aberdeen as they take on Hibs. They couldn't go down, could they? Kilmarnock could, Dundee could, and they're playing each other at Rugby Park. Big games, big names. That's why we've drafted in the head of PFA Scotland this afternoon. Fraser Wishart is in the VIP enclosure.
Yeah, so much talk about the post-split fixtures this week, Fraser, but the teams still need to get the business done today before they start worrying about those.
Absolutely, but we're getting to that stage of the season where every weekend something will be ticked off. Top 6 has been ticked off. Livy are virtually relegated. And out of the remaining 10 teams, probably only Dundee United have nothing to play for, whether it's a championship, whether it's European places, whether it's staying out of the dreaded playoff place. You're talking about Aberdeen there. I saw Aberdeen last week. They're in big trouble as well. So today is a pivotal day, the last fixtures before the split, and after that you're playing against teams at the bottom end for Aberdeen and the likes of that. So exciting day. Hearts and Celtic at home. Looking forward to a great day in front of big crowds at both these grounds.
What a day for sport. The Masters, Grand National and the Scottish Premiership.
You just knew he would mention the golf before he mentioned football. You just knew it.
Listen, you cannot get better than that this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Like the guys, I am looking forward to it. I'm looking down that fixture list. A lot of difficult games there, a lot of twists and turns, a lot of excitement. You can go down all the leagues, you can get into the Championship. It's excitement, League 1, League 2. We've got it all. Bring it on.
I would blame you for bringing up the golf, but I did sit and watch it for long enough last night that, you know, when you get that message of doom on your TV that says that it's about to automatically turn off because your TV's been on for too long, that was me last night. But full focus on the football today, Hugh Keevins. And I think ever since that statistic came out a few weeks ago, that someone had pointed out that there's only been one weekend in the whole season that Celtic, Hearts and Rangers have all won pretty much every single weekend. You're now just expecting at least one of them to slip up.
Well, you look at the history of Celtic and St Mirren this season. 2 1-0 wins for Celtic in the league at Paisley and at Celtic Park, but very late goals, very poor performances, and then there was that cup final in December where St Mirren dismantled Celtic and rightly took the Premier Sports Cup. And then you look at Hearts. The last time Motherwell were at Tynecastle, they were 3 up at one stage. If that happens today, the crowd will turn on that Hearts side, who in their last 10 league games have failed to win 5 of them. Haven't lost them, but have failed to win 5 of them. So, big afternoon for Derek McInnes and Martin O'Neill.
Yeah, looking forward to getting stuck into the action today. 2 of the top 3, of course, in action, both at home today as well. Celtic against St Mirren, Hearts against Motherwell. Some other interesting games today. We will go around all the grounds, get the team news and the build-up. But let's start at Celtic Park, shall we? David Friel will be watching Celtic against St Mirren.
Yes, Andrew, and as you said, there's been so much focus on the post-split fixtures in the last few days. It's been easy to forget how big a game this is for Celtic and for St Mirren, of course. I think if we start with Martin O'Neill's side, the task is pretty simple: win at all costs. Nothing else matters. Celtic are third as things stand, 3 points behind leaders Hearts, 2 behind Rangers. There actually is a scenario that they could be topped by tonight if Hearts lose, Celtic win and there's a 5-goal swing. But I think leapfrogging Rangers into second is the minimum requirement today. Anything else would be an unexpected bonus. However, as you said, winning won't be easy against a St Mirren team who have caused Celtic so many problems this season. It took an 87th minute goal from Luke McCown for Celtic to win 1-0 here on the opening day of the season. Then in November at Paisley, it was 94 minutes on the clock when Callum McGregor scored to secure another 1-0 win. We all know what happened at the League Cup final in December. St Mirren so good that day they dismantled Wilfred Nancy's team, and this is likely to be a really tough game again for Celtic ahead of the club's Scottish Cup semi-final meeting next weekend. Celtic have lifted the Green Brigade's ban this week. You would imagine this place will be rocking in time for kick-off ahead of a monumental game in the context of the title race. However, there has been some bad news for Celtic this week. They have lost Julian Araujo for the rest of the season. Colby Donovan is also out today. He joins Alistair Johnson in pretty much a right back medical room for Celtic now. Tony Ralston's the last man standing, he plays, but Martin O'Neill's big dilemma, the big team choice today was whether to start Kelechi Iheanacho or keep him on the bench to make a second half impact. We asked him yesterday what was he going to do. He didn't know. Well, the answer is that Iheanacho is on the bench. He did score the winner at Dens Park, but that has not been enough to get him a place in the team. Thomas Chivinchara continues up front. So Celtic going to line up Buljami Sinisalo in goals. Back 4, Tony Ralston, Austin Trusty, Liam Scales and Kieran Tierney. Midfield 3, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Callum McGregor and Benjamin Negrin. Yang and Dyes and Maeda are on the wings with Thomas Chivinchara through the middle. Subs for Celtic are Doohan, McCown, Iheanacho, Tenetke, Sarachi, Hatate, Arthur Forrest and a return for Arnie Engels. As for St Mirren, they've got their own fight as well. They're in a real battle to avoid the relegation playoff. They're just 3 points above 11th place Kilmarnock, but they have picked up successive wins over Falkirk and Aberdeen under Craig McLeish. They're definitely improving. He has replaced Stephen Robinson, of course, until the end of the season. Craig McLeish is only 35 and he's going to go up against 74-year-old dugout rival Martin O'Neill today. So we've got two managers at the opposite ends of their careers. I think this is summed up by the fact that Martin O'Neill was a Wycombe manager for a 2-0 defeat to Barnet in the GM Vauxhall Conference way back in the day that Craig McLeish was actually born in 1990. So that shows you the difference between the two managers. St Mirren team, unsurprisingly, is the same that beat Aberdeen last week. Jamal George in goals, back three of Liam Donnelly, Alex Gogic and Miguel Freckleton. Midfield 5, Mark O'Hara, Killian Phillips, Jacob Devaney, Alan Campbell and Declan John, with Jonah Ayunga and Mikael Mandron up front. Subs for St Mirren are Mullen, Richardson, King, Tanza, Idowu, McMenamin, Douglas, Ateti and Young. The referee at Celtic Park is Duncan Nicholson and the VAR is John Beaton.
What stands out to you from that Celtic team? First of all, there was going to be a decision up top. I think maybe a lot of Celtic supporters would have been looking for Kelechi Iheanacho to start, but you wonder how much of that must just come down to fitness.
I think it all comes down to fitness, because let's be honest here, these are 6 cup finals for 3 teams to go and win this title, you would play your strongest and best players, and he is the best centre forward in the building. Let's not be kidded here. So yeah, they'll be nurturing him along. You'll see him at some point today. The advantage is they're at home. I fancy obviously Celtic to have most of the possession this afternoon. I know St Mirren have found a little bit of form, but they're still down there fighting for their lives. At Celtic Park, under the pressure, I still think, as much as it'll be tight, and I know what Hugh's got to say, I still see Celtic getting the job done today.
Talking about Celtic in attack, as Gordon said, they will have the majority of the ball. That's just what happens with Celtic. But in previous weeks, they've just seemed quite blunt in attack, which is something that Martin O'Neill, Sean Maloney just haven't quite managed to work out in the last few weeks for some reason.
Yeah, but I mean, they've got options, but they clearly don't like the options, like Amada and Voodoo. These kind of guys are signed in January. They're nowhere to be seen. Yang, Hughes' pal, has become their most potent player. He's been terrific in spells this season. The problem's in the other 2 attacking positions. They haven't got a settled centre forward. I agree with Daz that Iheanacho is the best striker they've got in the building, but I think it's a risk to play him just now. There's some big games coming up, so he's going to be eased in maybe in a couple of weeks before he plays a full 90. So it makes sense to me. But Maeda has a problem as well because he's such a terrific player. He's been brilliant for Celtic. Fantastic last year, won the Player of the Year. And he's just tailed off. So centre forward and the wide left position, getting productivity from there has been a problem for Celtic, and they'll need that today against a well organised St Mirren who are quite comfortable playing away from home. They're not a team that's uncomfortable sitting back and hitting the counter attacks. So it's going to be a testing 90 minutes for Celtic.
The reason why everyone is delighted to see the Green Brigade back is because they get the crowd going more than the team does, and that's Martin O'Neill's problem. He said before the Dundee game last Sunday that if Celtic dropped anything there, it was a long way back. That's a managerial euphemism for we're sunk. So the same applies to this game today against St Mirren. And as I say, in terms of the league matches, they have been very, very close with extremely late goals. But I do credit Yang with having a bit of life about him. I'm surprised that Schwanchara starting. He was utterly useless against Dundee last weekend, but it shows where Celtic are at. It's a squad in severe decline. Martin O'Neill gets the credit for having them still in contention for the title. They have to take full advantage of being at home with the Green Brigade, because if you can't beat the third bottom club at home, then why are you even talking about the championship?
I know what you're saying, Hugh, about Finchara Dundee. I think he was involved in a lot. It's fine lines just now for me, because the one he goes through and he chips the goalkeeper, if that hits the other bit of the post, it's in the back of the net. All of a sudden that confidence is up and running again. Iheanacho, without doubt, is the best finisher. He's the best link-up player for them, but it's up to other players just now to step up to the mark. And if you can't do it with the Green Brigade back in, that atmosphere will be electric this afternoon, no doubt, full Celtic Park, then you really shouldn't be at the club.
There's a touch of the use of Chermitis about Schwanchara. He needs 5 chances to get 1 goal. But today, as Fraser said earlier, Celtic are blunt, and they can't afford blunt today.
David Friel, you'll have covered countless games at Celtic Park where the Green Brigade will have been in the stadium. You'll have covered countless when they've been banned. What sort of difference do you feel they could make for Celtic's 4 home matches left this season?
Andrew, I dare say that there will be a better atmosphere. What I would say is I felt that the Celtic Motherwell game a few weeks ago was as unified as I've heard Celtic Park in a long time. Kieran Tierney actually spoke about that at length afterwards and said that he felt it was a real connection. So yeah, look, I think having everybody back and having, whether it's a peace pact or a bit of a truce, will certainly help the players. And Jamison Asala was talking about it yesterday, and he said that the players definitely see a difference. However, to quote Chris Sutton during the week, a supporter's never scored a goal, and Celtic's problems are on the pitch. Are not necessarily, there's a lot of problems off the pitch, but it's not necessarily just about the crowd. Celtic need to get a bit of cohesion. They need to find a striker who can score goals. So I think what happens on the pitch is far more important than the fact there's 200 fans back in the standing section. But yeah, there's no doubt there will be a bit more noise, I would imagine.
In the case of St Mirren as well, going well under Craig McLeish, 2 wins on the bounce now.
Yeah, and I was there last weekend when they played so well against Aberdeen, particularly first half. Played slightly different style of play, same formation, because St Mirren don't have wingers, so they can't go to a 4-2-3-1 or whatever. But same formation, but just playing it slightly differently. Not tippy tappy stuff, but playing through the midfield, getting the ball forward earlier into feet, and then getting the midfield up in support, and it worked really, really well. And they do have players, as they've shown against Celtic in the Cup, when they just pressed them and physically, like some Mandron, Ayunga and Lundulu, they caused problems. They kind of bullied the Celtic back four on that day as well. So they'll fancy their chances if they can sit in and hit on the break. And I don't think there'll be much in this game at all. I think it's going to be very tight and a difficult one for Celtic. They're going to have to find some way of unpicking that St Mirren defence.
Another huge game at the top. Let's go to Tynecastle. Hearts against Motherwell. Roger Hanna is there for us.
Yeah, and a point of clarification, Andrew, just to let you know, Hearts are still top of the Premiership table. I only say that because when I spoke to Derek McInnes after the 2-2 draw at Livingston on Sunday, he admitted that he did need to remind himself of that fact. Such was the disappointment of dropping those 2 priceless points. Stephen Kingsley has called these next 6 Premiership fixtures the most important games of the Jambos Stars' careers. And it all starts today here against the Steelmen, who have given McInnes' men a spot of bother already this season. You'll remember a 3-3 draw here back in August when Motherwell led 3-0. It was 0-0 at Fir Park in November, and they'll meet again in Lanarkshire after the split. Match day 36, an 8 p.m. kick-off on Saturday, May the 9th, as this title fight gets down to the wire. Hearts' last 4 games here have all been 1-0 wins. Hibs, Falkirk, Aberdeen and Dundee, and another home victory today would keep them top of the pack, get into this 33-game split. Motherwell need points too, don't forget. Hibs are only 3 behind them now in the race for European qualification, and they come here again without Callum Slattery completing his 2-game ban. We should have goals. Fraser's normally the king of the nil-nils. I'm not expecting one of them today, Andrew, and I say that because we've got 3 of the 4 players to have reached double figures in the Premiership this season. Tawanda Maswanese 17, Claudio Braga 13, Lawrence Shanklin 12. Surely will trouble the score of the afternoon. Hearts making 3 changes from the side it drew at Livy on Sunday. Stuart Finley's fit and comes back for Jamie McCarthy at centre half. Benny Beringame gets a nod with Mark Leonard suspended after his stoppage time red card, and Blair Spittle preferred to Islam Chesnikov on the right of midfield. So it's Alexander Swallow in goal. It's a back 4: Ocean McEntee, Craig Halkett, Stuart Finley and Stephen Kingsley. The holders in midfield: Benny Beringame and Cammy Devlin, and then Blair Spittle, the skipper Lawrence Shanklin, and Alexandros Kizaridis supporting top scorer Claudio Braga. On the bench, Fulton, Kent and McCart, Kabori, Steinwender and Altena, Kerjota, Mato and Chesnikov. Motherwell, same 11 that lost 3-2 at home to Falkirk last Saturday. Talk of a little tactical tweak by Jens Bertalascu. What that looks like, we'll probably need to wait till 3 o'clock to find out. The personnel: Callum Ward in goal. It's Paul McGinn and Stephen Welsh at centre back, Stephen O'Donnell and Manny Longello, Tom Sparrow, Elliot Watt, Lucas Fadinger, Elijah Just, Ibrahim Said and Tawanda Maswanisi. On the bench, Conley, Gordon and McGee, Halliday, Nicholson and Priestman, Ross, McAllister, and fit again Callum Hendry. The ref is Matthew McDermott, the VAR is Stephen McLean, and we're expecting drama, anxiety, tension, all in 90 minutes this afternoon at Tynecastle.
Yeah, Hearts' last 4 home games at Tynecastle have been 1-0 wins. Derek McInnes would like it to be more comfortable than that, but he would happily take another 1-0 win today and 3 points.
I thought they were disappointing at Livingston last Sunday. Having gone 2-1 up, I was expecting a third and possibly a fourth, but they ended up 2-2 and hanging on, which is why they suffered a red card in the dying moments of the game. When Roger was talking about the Hearts player who said these were the most important games of the players' careers, he's spot on, because if Hearts don't win the title, having led the table for as long as they have done this season, if they don't win the title, I think they will live with regret for the rest of their careers, rest of their lives. That's how important it is today.
Yeah, Derek McInnes saying that he almost needed to remind himself that Hearts were top of the table. Important not to let any negativity creep in at this stage of the season. Even if you do drop points to the team bottom of the table, Hearts have done so well up until this point. They won't want any sort of creeping thoughts in the back of the head going into such big games at the end of the season.
No, but I think even though they've been top of the league for so long and we've been very positive and praiseworthy of them, now there's a few bad results and a few wobbly moments. People are now examining Hearts for most of the season, the story's been about Rangers. It's been Russell Martin, it's been the collapse there, it's been about Celtic with 3 managers and losing the cup final and the collapse of them as well. But now it's on Hearts, the focus, and Hugh's absolutely spot on. I mean, I was playing in the Premier League 40 years ago when Hearts should have won the league and didn't. Yes, I do feel old. And,
never know the reason why. It's officially out there.
I played in a game in September for Motherwell. We beat Hearts to put them bottom of the table. They didn't lose another game till the last day of the season, and they still talk about that. There's still scars. Players I played with at Hearts as well who went through that as well. So Hugh's right. If they don't win it this year, then it'll be an absolute disaster for Hearts. But they've had their one slip last weekend. They can't afford any more. And today's a huge game, I think, for Hearts, because it'll be difficult against a good Motherwell team.
I think the big bonus for it, you touched on their home record there lately. They've been scraping through. But the difference now is Shankland and Braga are back as a partnership. And if they can get the service to them, listen, I'm expecting a real difficult game. Motherwell have dropped off a little bit, and it was always going to happen, right? They set the bar so high. It was always going to happen, but it won't continue from now to the end of the season. Let's not be kidded. Hearts need to be at the top of their game today, but Shankland and Braga, they're the best 2 centre forwards, a partnership in the league by a country mile.
If Jens Bertolascu wants the Celtic job, it's time to get a move on, because his stock has dropped ever so slightly. He was the talk of the Steamy for most of the season. Motherwell have slipped away a little bit. He needs Motherwell to be re-energised today.
Yeah, 4 games without a win for Motherwell. Roger saying there may be a tactical tweak from Motherwell today. Is that maybe unsurprising, just trying to freshen things up after going through the kind of spell that Motherwell haven't really gone through for most of the season?
I don't know. I think he's that kind of manager. Listen, it wasn't that long ago. He was winning games, making 5 changes, winning the game, making 7 changes. He's like that. He's very active. He's very active indeed in his selections. His tactical awareness is absolutely brilliant. Look, at the end of the day, they will go there. Remember, they'll go there with the confidence that not that long ago they went 3-0 up and they were really battering Hearts. And Hearts, Tynecastle was empty. Don't know if Fraser was there. It was empty, and all credit to Hearts to come fighting back. I think Rodgers in for an absolute brilliant game. You've got guys that can score goals at both ends of the pitch. You've got guys that can create from the middle part and wide areas. Goals galore.
Well, that is the story from Celtic Park and Tynecastle, but 3 big other games in the Premiership this afternoon. Aberdeen against Hibs, Kilmarnock against Dundee, Dundee United against Livingston. We will go around those grounds next.
You're listening to the Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast, the home of Scottish football, and it's proudly sponsored by White & Mackay Triple Matured Whisky. Now let me make one thing crystal clear right from the start. If you've tuned in tonight looking for balance, for moderation, or for a gentle exchange of views where everyone nods politely and agrees to disagree, you are categorically in the wrong place. But if you've tuned in because you know Scottish football isn't about balance, it's about belief, it's about tribal loyalty, and it's about being absolutely convinced you're right, even when the evidence is screaming otherwise, then you are exactly where you should be. So get comfortable, pour yourself a dram and brace yourself, because at some point tonight, something you hear will annoy you. This is the Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast with White & Mackay Triple Matured Whisky. Smoothly does it.
Lots of men out there want to feel more confident in the bedroom. In fact, 1 in 5 men have issues as they get older. That's why MedExpress is here to provide support in minutes through a free online consultation. By completing the short online consultation, they'll suggest the right treatment for your concerns, all from the comfort of your home. And you know you're in the right place. They've been one of the country's leading online pharmacies since 2013 with over 1.5 million customers. Their UK-based clinical team will support you every step of the way and send your medication straight to your door. And the best bit is the whole process is online, so you don't even have to visit your GP. So no more planning or pressure, just confidence when you need it most. Visit medexpress.co.uk to check your eligibility and get 30% off with the code SuperScoreboard. That's SuperScoreboard, all one word, when you check out at medexpress.co.uk.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like payroll manager.
Hi, I was just checking my payslip and it's all in Japanese yen.
Yes, you're welcome.
Sorry?
Given the exchange rate between the pound and the yen, you're technically a millionaire now. Don't spend it all in one place.
I can't really spend it anywhere.
This is a job for sponsored jobs.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. So the next time you need someone to get the job done right, get matched with quality candidates with an Indeed sponsored job. Visit Indeed.com/nexthire and sponsor your job today.
This season, I want to feel it from the start, from the whistle, from the first touch. Want to beat the odds, want to take an early lead, want to see why he costs so much money, want to shout pen before the ref is even called in, want to see the call go our way for once. I want to hear their lot go quiet, want to see them leave early, want to drop into the group chat to tell them I've seen the future, want to hear them agree, and if not I'll say, want to bet? Bet Fred. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Action as it happens. And your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Another big day of Premiership action to bring you on Clyde One Super Scoreboard. A lot of good games down the divisions as well. We'll bring you the latest throughout the day, but for now we're bringing you the previews, the team news. We've been to Celtic Park, we've been to Tynecastle as well. 3 other Premiership games to visit before kick-off. Let's go to Pittodrie, shall we? Aberdeen against Hibs. Dave Galloway is there.
Yeah, another big home support will have cause for cheer today, Andrew, with the club's first Legends Day taking place as Aberdeen FC honour one of their all-time greats. Record goal scorer Joe Harper will take the fans' acclaim 3 days before the club's 123rd anniversary. And at half-time, local man and Dons fan Neil Jackson, who has leukaemia, is due to arrive here at the end of his epic challenge to cycle round all 12 Scottish Premiership stadiums, having started early yesterday morning at Rugby Park. But of course, there are plenty of reasons to be worried, with Aberdeen on a horrendous run which might just see them relegated for the first time ever. Certainly, one win in 16 league games is relegation form. Even Livingston have gained more points during that period. They'll face a Hibs side which impressed in last weekend's win over Kilmarnock, especially in the first half. Remember, they went a goal ahead after 13 seconds. And the Highbees are now breathing down the necks of 4th place Motherwell. They're also unbeaten in 6 games. David Gray's team won't underestimate their badly struggling hosts, but they will surely smell the fear hanging over Pittodrie Stadium and will certainly fancy their chances of capitalising on that. Let's take a look at the teams then, and once again Stephen Robinson has made a host of changes. He made 5 changes before last weekend's defeat against St Mirren. He's made 5 changes again today. In come Mitov, Cameron, Armstrong, Olusanya and Nisbet. Out to drop Bratveit, Keskinen, Shinnie, Bilalovic and Lazetic. So it's Mitov in goals, a back 3 of Milne, Morrison and Malloy. In midfield, the wing-backs Jensen and Giamfi, with Aremu and Armstrong in the middle. Up top, Nisbet supported by Cameron and Olusanya. The subs for the Dons today: Bratveit, Shinnie, Milanovic, Palaversa, Lazetic, Kjartansson, Lobben, Guamono and Keskinen. Hibs, not a big surprise. They are unchanged, so it's Salinger in goals, O'Hora, Hanley and Iredale the back 3. In midfield, Paslak and Obita are the wing-backs, with Chaiwa and Barleza in the middle. McGrath playing off Elding and Scarlett in attack. The subs for the Highbees today: Smith, Boyle, Newell, Chris Cadden, Nicky Cadden, Andrews, Campbell, Bushiri and Suto. Match referee at very sunny but very cold Pittodrie, David Dickinson, and in VAR, Greg Aitken.
How quickly does Stephen Robinson need to get that first win as Aberdeen manager?
Yesterday. The trouble with Legends Days is Joey Harper, fantastic player. Fraser and the Dalziel will remember him very well. Yeah. Fantastic player, great guy. But the trouble with bringing the legends to the fore is it reminds the crowd of how bad the present day is. And the present day is bad. So Hibs, if they have anything about them, going to play a team who, as Dave said, have won 1 of their last 16 league games, Hibs could possibly go level on points with Motherwell today. That's got to be their incentive, and that's got to be Aberdeen's problem.
The problem is, Hugh, this is how bad Aberdeen is. I've just heard there from a good friend that Joey Harper's turned up his boots.
He's on the bench.
It's quite incredible. Aberdeen have lost as many games as Livingston this season, who are bottom of the table. There will be real concerns for the supporters turning up at Pittodrie today that when you look at the league table and it's all starting to get bunched together, Dundee may get dragged into it as well today, but 11th is a real possibility for Aberdeen over these next few games.
Absolutely. I saw them last week at St Mirren, and I was shocked by how poor they were in the first half. I'm not surprised that Stephen Robson's made so many changes. The 4 subs that he brought on, Armstrong, Cameron, the 2 strikers, Olasanya and Nisbet, they made a difference. They were a bit better in the second half, but the first half, St Mirren being 1 up was a tragedy for St Mirren. They completely dominated Aberdeen. I think they had something like 1 touch in the St Mirren box the first half, so they're in trouble. The start of this game is going to be very important. We talk about nerves at Tynecastle and Celtic Park and Ibrox when they're playing at home. It's going to be nervous today, and if Hibs get on top in the first 10-15 minutes, Pittodrie could be a hard place to play today. So, and I think Hibs might win this one, and it's just going to become even more difficult and more pressure for Aberdeen in the coming weeks.
Naturally, home crowds will get anxious and angry when things aren't going well for their team. How much more is that heightened when there's the thought in the back of the head that a relegation playoff spot is a realistic possibility this season?
It's more than that. Let's not be kidded here. I think if you're looking at the 3 or 4 teams that's going to finish in the 11th place, I will probably find a struggle to see if anybody will not back Aberdeen to be there. Recent form. Look, one thing you can say about them, they're a good club, they're a decent club, they're not, as Hugh says now, a big club like what they were in the 80s under Fergie and winning European trophies and cup finals, whatever it may be. They've got fantastic support, a loyal support that travels up and down the country in huge numbers to follow them. They deserve better. They've been a shambles this year, and no disrespect, even their manager, the appointment of Stephen Robinson, and I was never against him getting an hour job. What he achieved at St Mirren was great. Aberdeen was not the job for me, and I think Stephen's probably looked at that squad now, looked at what's going on inside that building, thinking, maybe I jumped too quickly here, or maybe it's sat. We can understand why he did take the job because of the size of the club, but they are an absolute shambles and they're not getting away from it.
The best he can do is simply to keep them up, and at that point he can say, I did what was necessary. This club has never ever in its history been relegated, and they're not going down under me. But the problem he has, his team's poor.
And while Aberdeen are looking over their shoulders, Hibs will be looking in front of them. 3 points behind Motherwell. If they win today and their city rivals do them a favour at Tynecastle, Hibs could be level on points with Motherwell, which is quite incredible when you think of all the praise that Motherwell had this season, and rightly so. And Hibs, have been up and down this season. Could be really in contention for that 4th spot in European football.
Yeah, and I think the last half dozen games they've got as good a record as anybody. In fact, I think probably the most points out of any team in the Premiership as well. And I saw them draw with Livingston at home. It was a terrible game. Livy defended very deep, but that was a chance for them to even close that gap even more. And 4th place is very important because it guarantees European football. 5th only if Celtic win the cup, so that's a very important position. But also Hibs will be looking over their shoulders. Falkirk are on their tails as well, so every club's got something to play for. But Hibs are really confident and they're chasing down that 4th place.
Let's go to Rugby Park, Kilmarnock against Dundee. Kerry Pollock is watching that one for us.
Good afternoon, Andrew, from a very windy Rugby Park as 11th place Kilmarnock host 8th place Dundee. Neil McCann makes 2 changes to the side that fell to a 3-0 defeat at the hands of Hibs last time out in the capital. Today's Kelly starting lineup looks like this. Kelrus in goal, a back 4 of Shawning Larson, Robbie Dees, George Stanger, Jamie Brandon. Tom Lowry replaces Liam Polworth in the midfield alongside Shubola. Finlay Curtis, Greg Kilty keep their places within the starting lineup. Bruce Anderson gets the call today alongside Joel Hugel. On the bench for Kelly, it's Stryjic, Thompson, Mayo, McKenzie, Lyons, Watson, McGuinness, Lushenko and Polworth. As for the visitors, Stephen Presley also makes 2 changes to the side that lost to Celtic last weekend. The starting lineup consists of Joe McCracken in goal. Cometio gets the call today alongside Graham, Wright and Halliday. Congreve, Ethan Hamilton, Jan Danda with Joel Cottrell joining the midfield, and Simon Murray leads the line up top. The subs bench for Dundee looks like this: O'Hara, Robertson, Hay, Samuels, Matsama, Riley, Wesley, Wright and Jones. The referee today is Ross Hardy, and VAR Don Robertson.
Kilmarnock have any hopes of staying out of that 11th place? Their home record is one place they can look for a real bit of positivity. 4 wins from the last 5 at Rugby Park. The only defeat in that game against Celtic, where Celtic got a late winner.
Yeah, I liked what Neil McCann had to say during the week. Fear wins you nothing. So as best they can, they have to approach the game without fear, and I think with the crowd at Rugby Park right behind them, they've got a good chance. But Dundee, to be fair to Stephen Presley, 10 minutes to go last week against Celtic, 1-1, and he thought that Dundee might have been a likelier team to win until Iheanacho entered the fray. So that's going to be as tight as 2 coats of paint.
This is a preview of how important the post-split fixtures can be, because if Kilmarnock win this game, they go 2 points behind Dundee going into the final 5 matches of the season. They lose the game, they're 8 points behind Dundee. It's just such a massive difference.
I know, I was looking at the 11th place points for the last 4 or 5 years, and it's been between like 34, 35. I think one season Ross County 37, so around about that 35 mark, 36 mark will keep you up. And but it's for Dundee, it's when you get that, because if they lose today, they are right in it as well. So that's a big game down at Rugby Park. But Neil McCann's come in with Billy Dodds, and they've been positive. They've realised they need to win games. You know, playing defensively and grabbing a point here and there probably doesn't work. So certainly it's worked at home, but they've lost a lot of goals, so more than 2 goals a game this season as well. So they're going to have to be strong at the back today.
Getting a win sort of just helps the averages for Kilmarnock as well. If you can just drag another team into that fight for 11th place. Aberdeen have been dragged into it. We know St Mirren and Kilmarnock are there. If Dundee are then dragged into it as well, that means there's just maybe less chance of you finishing in 11th place if there's more teams you're battling it out with.
Just on paper, and it's not 3 o'clock, I think that Kilmarnock could be the big winners at 10-5 this evening. If they go and get a win, I'm not fancying St Mirren and I'm not fancying Aberdeen. So if they go and get a win against Dundee, they really tighten up at the bottom of that league, there's no doubt. I agree with you. I think it'll be a very tight game. I'm absolutely delighted I'm not sitting in Rugby Park in that win, because it'll be freezing. But let's hope for plenty of goals.
And last but not least, let's go to Tannadice. Dundee United against Livingston with Alison McConnell.
Good afternoon, guys. It's been an odd season for Dundee United, whose campaign now condenses into a best of the rest challenge as they look to nail that 7th spot. Having missed out on the top 6, he can really now only look to make sure they top that lower half of the league. Jim Goodwin will be without goalkeeper Ashley Maynard-Brewer, who looks to have dislocated his shoulder at Ibrox last weekend. A bit of an issue, I think, with the socket. He's set to see a specialist in the coming week, but fair to say his season looks as though it is over. Goodwin, who picked up the Manager of the Month award this week, has said that United will be looking at the problems the pitch has presented across the course of this season. I was up here about 3 weeks ago, just before the international break, as United beat Celtic, and they would have been as well playing the game on the West Sands at St Andrews. It actually looks considerably improved this afternoon. The better weather coming in, a bit more sunshine, and it doesn't look quite as sandy today. As for Livingston, as we heard Fraser say at the top of the show, their relegation looks like a straightforward fait accompli, but the problem is no one has actually told them. Certainly Marvin Bartley's side are not going gently into that good night as they fight for everything. They're still without that win since August, all the way back, their only victory of the campaign. However, with 5 draws from their last 6 games, including of course against league leaders Hearts last weekend, they continue to rage against the dying of the light. Defeat here today would take them a step closer to formalising their relegation. They're 11 points adrift of Kilmarnock as it stands, but as we said, we expect them to fight and scrap for everything. So onto the teams this afternoon. There are 4 changes for United after that defeat at Ibrox last weekend. No surprises then, as David Richards replaces Maynard-Brewer. Ryan Strain, Zach Sapsford and Sam Cleo-Harding come in as they take over from Christian Karetsis, Neil Ferrugia and Luca Stevenson. So it looks as though it'll be the tried and tested 3-4-2-1 for United. Richards in goal, and then a back 3 of Yuri Iurvo, Ross Graham and Sam Cleo-Harding, Ryan Strain, Vico Chevelge, Emmanuel Aige and Will Ferry, and then Zach Sapsford and Amar Fatah behind Max Waters. On the bench for the Tannadice side it is Adams, Esselink, Kamara, Iskisson, Dolcek, Ferrugia, Nemo, Karetsis and Anderson. As for Livingston, they keep the same starting 11 who got that draw against Hearts last weekend. Again, it looks like a 3-4-2-1 with Jerome Prior in goal, Danny Finlayson, Danny Wilson and Christian Montano. In Cammy Kerr, Scott Arfield, Mo Siller and Babakar Fatih. Lewis Smith, who of course scored that leveller, and Stevie May and Joel Nubley leading the line. On the bench, Hamilton, McGowan, Pittman, Muirhead, Mackay, Danzo, Cabangolo, Tate and Zimmerman. Today's referee is Chris Graham and VAR is Andrew Dallas.
You see, bring Fraser Wishart into the studio and you raise the standard of the programme straight away. Alison McConnell has just given us an English literature class. Livingston refuse. They are refusing to go down. They are refusing to rage against the dying of the light. English literature class there from Alison McConnell. Quote of the day.
Which book was it from? Which book was it from? Is it from a book? Poem?
I think it might be
Alison
tell us. Who was it, Alison?
I beg your pardon. Sorry, you've just broke up there. I'm sitting outside. I'm sorry, I genuinely didn't catch it. I've just. What did you say there?
Raging against the dying of the light. Who wrote that?
Do not go gentle into that good night. It's Dylan Thomas.
Dylan Thomas, there you are, see?
That good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage against the dying of the light.
That's enough, Alison, shut up.
Try to work out who Dylan Thomas plays for.
Yeah. He's a winger, isn't he?
Like that, Gordon, a bit of culture to the Saturday afternoon?
I love a bit of culture. I'm in between royalty here today. Usually it's me and that Cammy Bell. But Hugh's brought some help in this afternoon, shall we say. But listen, I used to work with this guy. I know this guy inside out.
Bit of culture.
Exactly.
Has Dylan Thomas ever appeared on Super Scoreboard before?
No.
I would highly doubt it. Anyway,
and why is Alison sitting outside?
Yeah, he sat outside.
That's what you do at a football match. You sit outside
in the stand.
She
was sitting outside Tannadice.
No. She's just sitting.
So did I'm thinking, how's she plugged in? She's got some car.
She gets some view of the game sitting outside on.
Well, it's
straight.
Yeah, that was a wee bit like you there.
Anyway, a chance for Dundee United to try and pull away from the pack, which would be big for Jim Goodwin going into the post-split fixtures.
Yeah, I think at this stage of the season you're kind of grasping to find something to play for if you're Dundee United, because it's been a really disappointing season. They've invested a lot of money, they've gone foreign, they've gone abroad, and they're doing the same again over the summertime. It hasn't worked for them, so I think Jim's just trying to be positive. The two teams there, Alison's watching, are the two teams for me get really virtually nothing to play for, because I think Livy are toast. They're not going to catch teams above them, so it's a bit of pride there, but that might be a long 90 minutes for Alison.
Is anybody got to predict a draw by any chance?
Yeah, I think I might.
Yeah, home win.
Well, Livy,
Livingston, the draw specialists
Livingston,
under Marvin.
I understand, but Dundee United, the 2 goals at Ibrox last weekend, a post saved Rangers from a third Dundee United goal, so they obviously carry a threat.
I mean, they are much harder to beat under Marvin, but draws don't do anything for Livingston at this stage.
No, and as you're talking, you'd probably be better playing the game in the car park. You get a better bounce. The pitch will come into a factor of that, there's no doubt. It's dreadful up there. I'm sort of with Hugh a little bit. I thought there was good signs at Ibrox last week for Jim and Dundee United. Livy under Marv has a massive improvement, but like Fraser says, they're well and truly gone.
Well, that is the team news from all 5 Premiership matches today. We'll go back around some of the grounds next.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Just over 10 minutes to go until kick-off in the big Premiership matches. Lots going on down the divisions as well, so we'll keep you posted on every single goal as it goes in throughout the day. Let's go back for the final bit of build-up. Let's start at Tynecastle, shall we? A big one between Hearts and Motherwell at Tynecastle. One of the big topics of this week, Roger, was the fact that the post-split fixtures came out. There was a lot to be said, certainly from supporters when they came out, but then when we heard from Derek McInnes, who was the first of the managers to speak about it this week, his focus was really on the fact that it was excitement more than anything about what's ahead.
Yeah, very much so, and he said it would he would take on Celtic in a car park, never mind Celtic Park in the last day of the season. I think, the initial reaction from some Hearts fans was way OTT. Some of them have made themselves look foolish this week by complaining that Hearts deserved a home game after the split. The fact of the matter is there was no mathematical way of giving Hearts a home game in the last day of the season. There are lots of different factors taken into account by Callum Beattie and the hierarchy at the SPFL. Hearts only had 2 games, as did Rangers, of the last 5 at home. Celtic had 3 of the last 5 at home, and you're not allowed to have Rangers and Celtic at home together, Hibs and Hearts at home together, Andrew. So loads of factors. It means there is the potential for a real last day cracker at Celtic Park if all 3 teams are still in that title equation. Rangers would go to Falkirk for a third time on a synthetic surface for a third time, but I think Derek McInnes, Martin O'Neill, Danny Roll have all been measured in their reaction to the post-split fixtures. They know that all 3 teams will have 19 at home, 19 away. They'll play 2 at home and 2 away to all of their direct rivals. They appreciate the difficulty that the SPFL have annually in putting these fixtures out, and I think personally they've come to the best arrangement post-split that they possibly could.
Well, I'll say 2 words to you, Roger, and you know this to be true. Corruption and maladministration are the fans' favourite words in this country, are they not?
Oh, very much so, Hugh. Now, listen, I think there was always going to be conspiracy theorists, probably on all 3 sides of the title race. There will always be people unhappy because they want to be unhappy. They want to find something that they regard as an injustice towards their own team when they look at the fixtures. The bottom line is the team that accumulates the most points will win the title. Hearts are in the best position. They're a point clear of Rangers. They're 3 points clear of Celtic. It is in their hands. And if they win today, they'll have a couple of weeks break. I think they're going away to Spain next week for a little bit of sunshine in their backs. They will be in a very good position going into that post-split schedule.
Yeah, and as much as Derek McInnes talked about the potential excitement of it going down to the last day, you'll hope that in an ideal scenario that Hearts can win as many games as possible and it doesn't go down there.
Absolutely. And if Hearts win there's sort of 5 games between now and that last game of the season, the chances are they will have won. They've won the league. I think Hearts' biggest focus shouldn't be on the last day of the season. It should be the next 2 games. Hibs away, Rangers at home. Those are 2 testing games, which is why today is absolutely vital that they win the game, get the 3 points to keep themselves at the top of the table, because those are 2 hard games they've got coming up. Focus on the football. But I think from the SPFL's point of view, Hugh, I think they did a grand job because they've upset everybody. And if you upset everybody, you've got things pretty much right.
The fans need a scapegoat. How can we implicate PFA Scotland in all of this?
I managed to hide under the table when it comes to this and pass the buck to Callum Beattie and the SPFL. Nothing to do with us, Gov.
David Freo, Martin O'Neill, that question was put to him yesterday. He was asked about Derek McInnes saying about the potential excitement of the last day, but just based on the position that Celtic find themselves in at the moment, he sort of distanced himself from having any excitement about the final day and said there's lots of water under the bridge before that.
Yeah, I think his actual quote was Celtic might be out of it by then, so I don't know whether that's his natural pessimism or if he was just playing games yesterday. But yeah, he wasn't going to get involved in any of that. I know Alan McCoy's made a couple of comments. I think his tongue was in cheek with some of them earlier this week, but Martin O'Neill was very much focused on the games ahead, and as he pointed out, Celtic will play 19 at home, 19 away, same as Rangers, same as Hearts. So yeah, I don't think he was going down that route. And in terms of the final day, he's only thinking about today, Andrew. That's all he can think about. If you look at Celtic's recent performances, recent results, they've been grinding out wins at times. They've obviously dropped costly points along the way. You just think to Dundee United a couple of weeks ago, Hibs before that as well. So Martin O'Neill can't afford to think about 6 weeks ahead. He just has to think about now.
Danny Rule asked about it yesterday as well, pretty much saying that he knows Rangers are in charge of their own fate, especially when it comes to back-to-back away games against Celtic and Hearts.
Yeah, everyone's in their own hands. Let's be honest about it. You win your games, you win the league. It's as simple as that. I've looked at the fixtures. There's some cracking fixtures come up there. People talk about, Celtic have got the home games. Remember, Rangers have been to Celtic Park and won. Hearts have been to Celtic Park and won. If you're a Hearts fan, I'd be delighted Celtic was my last game away from home. Your away from home game is probably the hardest one as Celtic. You've left it till last. You could be playing Falkirk on the Wednesday night at home to win the league. So yes, I know that fans like to have a little moan about the fixtures and who gets what and where, But at the end of the day, I think all managers look at it, and Derek McInnes is quite right. He's in a position, play in a car park, 1919, whoever comes out on top deserves to win the league. Simple as.
No matter what people think of the fixtures and the scheduling and who plays when and where, it's just going to be a great end to the season, Hugh.
Oh, magnificent. Celtic have won 13 of the last 14 titles. There have been trebles in there. There has been an invincible season. Celtic have dominated Scottish football for a long time. And not only Rangers, but Hearts have joined in the fray. So we have a three-way dogfight to see who gets the title. And let the people who say the game's too early, the game's too late, the game's the bank holiday, the game's this, that and the other, be quiet, sit down and enjoy it.
Lots of good action to come before the end of the season, but lots of good action to come this weekend to start things off. Around 5 minutes to go until kick-off. We will bring you that next.
Scottish football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Just about to kick off in the big 3 o'clock games across Scotland. Dalziel, Fraser, Wishart and Hugh Keevins here with me, Andrew Maclean, bringing you the action, and then we'll let you know when it's time to get involved on the phones a bit later on. Lots of interesting games. Celtic at home to St Mirren, table toppers Hearts host Motherwell, it's Aberdeen Hibs, Kilmarnock against Dundee and Dundee United against Livingston. And as always, right before the games kick off, we need to get some terrible predictions from you three.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Get set for the season with expert pharmacy support.
Normally you're out at a game listening to the terrible predictions, so the pressure's on now to try and match the awful success rate that normally goes on in this studio.
It's not my strong point. I've been involved with football for 42 years, still a terrible predictor, but I'm going to go for...
Hold on a minute. Wind your neck in. It's Mr. Keevins.
Oh, sorry.
Wind your neck in. Don't come in here and puff your chest.
I thought Andrew was talking to me. I was on. Sorry, Hugh.
That's fair of Gordon, because he always goes last. He moans about the fact he's last. He could have just rolled with that and gone second there after you, but he's pointed out that, or maybe he's just trying to work the hierarchy and he's going to say that he can go second after Hugh.
I was getting the Lord Keevins stare there, so I'll pass to my senior colleague.
Aberdeen Hibs, draw. Celtic St Mirren, home win. Kilmarnock Dundee, draw. Dundee United Livy, home win. Hearts Motherwell, home win.
Okay. Fraser?
As long as I'm before DL, I don't care.
Well, to be fair, I'm usually second, but senior here, on you go. Taking over.
Aberdeen Hibs, away win. Celtic St Mirren, home win. Dundee United Livy, draw. Hearts Motherwell, home win. Kilmarnock Dundee, draw.
I'm going full house at Pittodrie with Hibs. I'm going Celtic. I'm going Dundee United. I'm going Hearts and Motherwell, a draw.
I didn't go for Hibs. I went for a draw. Aberdeen Hibs.
Did you? I'm not really interested in yours. And I'm going for a home win, Kilmarnock, and I will give you the Grand National winner in an hour.
Good. All right.
Okay, we will see how you three get on in the predictions. There, what's been going on around the grounds before kick-off. Colin Chisholm was singing a Hearts song on the pitch before kick-off. I think did Derek McInnes say that it had given him a bit of a boost a few weeks ago when he'd done the same.
Pardon my ignorance, who is Colin Chisholm?
Don't know.
Yeah, he's a local singer from Edinburgh who come on the pitch with the mic and he sings the Hearts song.
In other words, you don't know.
H-E-A-R-T-S. That's what I'll say.
If you can't spell it, then here's
that's exactly. The only reason I know that, Hugh, is for some reason it come up on my timeline thing today, whatever that's called.
He was a member of Bilbo.
There you go.
Bilbo Baggins.
If that means anything, that's a different thing. But
Bilbo,
who, to be fair, I would forgive you for not knowing who Bilbo are, because it says that their career highlight is they had a UK number 42 hit called She's Gonna Win.
He's not a bad singer, by the way, let me tell you. He can hold a tune.
Chizzy.
He can hold it. Sure. Not as good as me at Burning Love when I was at Red Rovers. Elvis.
Early Celtic chance, but Benjamin Negrin or Cvinchara, one of them was offside as Shamal George made the save. Roger is giving us a bit of a picture of what that Motherwell lineup is looking like. He said that it would be maybe a bit of a change from normal, and it looks as if it probably is, because it's Tom Sparrow at right back, Stephen O'Donnell at left back. That means Emmanuel Longolo is the left winger, with Maswanise on the right and Ibrahim Said through the middle.
That's a bit interesting. I know that Sparrow's obviously played it right back a right few times. O'Donnell can.
He's good in the wing, Sparrow.
No.
Setting the standard early.
It's only 3 minutes past 3. And I've got to say, I'm quite surprised Maswanise off a flank. Top goal scorer in Scotland.
You know, when he's made a lot of changes, we talk about that all season. He's not done so many recently. He's tended to keep the same players. And when I've seen him, he's played just maybe wide the right, but then maybe just off the front man as well. So he's juggling this. He's clearly going, this is my strongest team, roughly 9 out of the 11. This is what I'm going to stick with and just juggle it around.
Okay, before we get any early goals, let's do this, Hugh.
The first half teaser with Archiplan Glasgow. Planning permission and building warrant drawings for home extension, conversion or renovation.
In honour of St Mirren being at Celtic Park today, can you tell me the last 6 St Mirren players to score against Celtic in a league match at Celtic Park? The last 6 St Mirren players to score against Celtic in the league at Celtic Park.
We want your answers on Twitter at Clyde SSB. All of the answers, all 6 of those answers in the one tweet, and it is a race. Quickest wins, quickest gets on the podium, and you could be the winner or in the top 3 if you get those answers in quickly. At Clyde SSB is where to submit the answers for those. We can let Gordon Dalziel and Fraser Wishart deliberate on those.
What happens if somebody scores in the first 10 minutes from St Mirren? Does he go on that list?
Because, well, 7. If you listen to the question, Hugh did say before today's game at the start of it.
Yeah. Oh, apologies. My attention to details poor. I don't tend to listen to you guys.
You just realised that?
I do. I'm an epiphany.
It works really well on a 4-hour radio show where you're having to be part of the conversation and contribute to it.
I really like to apologise. I've been doing this for quite a while now. I just switch off when you're speaking.
Oh, Celtic have had the ball in the net, but it is offside. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, a lot of early pressure from Celtic, and it was a shot from Callum McGregor, came back after it was saved. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain put it in the back of the net on the volley, but definitely offside according to David Friel. But a lot of early Celtic pressure, and the atmosphere has been lifted, he says, with the introduction or the reintroduction of the Green Brigade.
I was waiting for you to say that it was going over a goalkeeper, it was getting in the line, and Negrin run in, tapped it in, and it was offside.
Yeah, the cheeky boy last week, wasn't he?
Listen,
you definitely did a bit of that in your time, surely.
I've got to say, right, without a word of lie, I criticised him to the hilt, right? But I admired him, because that's the sort of thing I would have done all day long.
Strikers always do that. I scored a goal for Motherwell way back in a cup game against Forfeit. I went round the goalkeeper and I'm about to roll in the back of the net, and Andy Walker's trying to push me out the way, saying, leave it. My first ever senior goal, genuinely an open net, there was nobody there.
I think one of the best of those of all time was in an England international, and I think Jermaine Defoe hit a shot, and David Nugent, who was making his England debut, ran in, was on the line, tapped it in, and it was his only ever England appearance, and he finished his England career with 1 cap, 1 goal, and it was from 1 yard, just tapping it just over the line, making sure that he got it. You know what? Fair play.
Aye. Yeah. That's what strikers are like.
Speaking of international strikers, a goal for Ollie McBurney for Hull, in very good form. Is he someone that could be creeping back into Steve Clarke's thoughts at all, do you feel?
I think we're too near the departure lounge for people to come in out of left field like Ollie McBurney.
He does have a squad of 55 that he needs to choose in the lead up to it.
Yeah, but Fraser and me are in that.
By the way, you say that, it's actually not as tricky as you'd think it is. When Steve Clarke, I was at the press conference where he said it, that they need to pick a squad of 55. I'll admit that night I was in the pub with a couple of my pals, This is how exciting we are as a group of friends. That we sat down and tried to pick a 55, and it's not. You're not actually getting too unrealistic with the 55. There are a lot of players that you actually have been in contention, have been in previous squads, have been in with a shout, that can make up a 55.
But I'm we've had 7 years of Steve Clarke, and I think you get the sense of a man after that length of time. And I think we're too near the departure lounge for the USA for someone like Ollie McBurney to suddenly arrive in the squad.
Finlay Curtis did come out of nowhere.
What Andrew didn't tell you there was Steve Clarke was part of that group that was sitting in the pub. 2 big goals in that title challenge race down in 2nd Division.
Edinburgh City 0, Clyde 1, Scott Williamson with the goal there, Spartans 0, Stranraer 1, Salu Toure with the goal, but the big one that was building up the suspense to 4-1, East Kilbride 0, Stuart Morrison with the goal in that game.
A point between them, East Kilbride sitting top, a goal down after 6-7 minutes, and Spartans at home, they got a goal down after 6. Pressure, even in the 2nd Division. Pressure down there, Fraser. Know that you ever played there.
Forfar are going for a playoff place, so they've got a bit to play for, so that'll be a difficult one for
What's the name of that horse in the National today? Panic Attack?
Panic Attack, that's a good one, Hugh, each way.
A few panic attacks in the dugout today, I think. A few teams.
I'm going for Spanish Harlem because I liked Benny King saying that.
I should also just preface that do not take any tips from any of the people in this studio, because you've heard what their predictions are like on a Saturday afternoon about the football, which is the sport that they're meant to know about. Never mind horse racing.
What have you got to say? Gamble carefully or gamble?
Please gamble responsibly. As always, there has been an early yellow card for Brad Halliday of Dundee for a foul on Finlay Curtis. Jonah Ayunga had a shot wide at Celtic Park after some nice play from St Mirren, so there looks to be a bit more action happening at Celtic Park at both ends as well, because there was a St Mirren break a few moments ago after a slack Benjamin Negron pass, and St Mirren got a corner out of that as well. Kilmarnock were wasteful from the free kick that led to Brad Halliday's booking, so no goals in the opening 10 minutes or so in the Premiership matches, but a bit of action going on so far.
I repeat Martin O'Neill's phrase, it's a long way back if you drop 3 points. And by a long way back, he means we're out of it. So for Derek McInnes and for Martin O'Neill today, that is simply a statement of fact. If they lose at home, they are as good as sunk.
I did ask Martin O'Neill yesterday just about the goal difference situation and how much that comes into Celtic's minds with them being, behind Rangers and Hearts when it comes to that. He actually is quite honest about it and said it's too late for Celtic to think about goal difference. He says if it was 15 games to go, it's something that would be a consideration. He feels that there's not really much of an avenue for them to catch Hearts and Rangers up in that regard. Do you see where he's coming from?
Yeah, there's been such a fuss about fixtures, but say this, Celtic have 6 games to play. They've started the first of them now. 4 are at home. So if you blow the league title at home, what do you want anybody else to do? Are you still
giving them 0, Hugh?
Yes.
They're not risen just a little bit?
I don't think they have a team
to 0.5
good enough to win the league.
I think the goal difference one is just because nobody has beaten another team really 4-5-0 on a regular basis. So I can see Celtic in particular in grinding out results. There's been late goals, 1-goal victories, so that might not be a consideration for Martin O'Neill. But they've got St Mirren at home today,
who are knocking it about a bit, according to David Freo. Seem to have settled down Craig McLeish's side and look comfortable enough in the early stages.
Well, you know what a start he's had. People are saying, who's Craig McLeish? But he's had 2 big wins for St Mirren, and his stock is very high at the moment, and he's clearly a guy with a positive vision of how the team should play. If they're knocking it about at Celtic Park, probably a full house there, the return of the Green Brigade, noise, colour, spectacle. If they've got the confidence to knock it about then it'll be a long afternoon for Celtic.
It's a very different approach to what Stephen Robinson would do against the top sides as well. That St Mirren, who were very effective in some of those games against the top sides, but they used that physicality. They had powerful strikers. Was always 3 defenders at the back. They would fight for second balls. They were successful. People maybe wondered whether Craig McLeish would use that template going to Celtic Park today, but looks as if he's going his own route.
No, he's quite right to go his own route. Look, you can't argue that Stephen Robinson was very successful with St Mirren. He's already got a bit of silverware in the cabinet. They're in the semi-final next week against Celtic. He got them there. Yes, the current the recent form up until he left Aberdeen in this season was very poor. Yes, I think everybody will agree with that. But top 4 finishes and everything, he was absolutely brilliant. Now, forget the style. I like the fact that Craig McLeish has come in and thought, right, okay, I've got a wee opportunity, maybe getting a job now. From now, this is my interview to the end of the season. So I'm going to put my own stamp on it. And if it works for me, great. If it doesn't, then it's down to me. It's down to my ability. I like the way he's going about this. Whether he decides, St Mirren decides after the end of the season that he's the man to take them forward, then I don't know. Where I worry sometimes is, and I've seen this picture a million times before, young guy comes in, steps up through the ranks, gets the last 6-7 games, whatever it may be, all of a sudden everybody, there's a tweak, there's a different style of play, gets 1 or 2 wee positive results, gets a job, and then 3 months later we know what happens. We've seen it a million times. We hope it doesn't happen to us, lad. I like the way he talks, his enthusiasm. I think he's earned his stripes, and well done to him. I hope he gets a good crack at it.
It was interesting last weekend in the interview after the game. I was in the media area, and he actually talked about experience beside him, and Stuart Taylor, and you were talking about a young lad coming through. Stuart Taylor, who I played with at a couple of clubs, but he's been Paul Lambert's assistant at a very, very high level. And he was talking about how he wanted to make more changes, Craig McLeish, in the second half. And Stuart Taylor said, calm, we're 2-0 up, so calm. And I think that was an interesting thing. You've got that dynamic with the experienced guy, but you've also got a young lad admitting and losing that experience.
I think we do have one of these.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Kilmarnock 1, Dundee 0, and it is Joe Hugel with the goal, and it's all happening out of the Premiership grounds.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
St Mirren were coming into the game. Miguel Freckleton had a low shot saved after some nice play, but Celtic have the opening goal at Celtic Park. It's Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, a low shot from him, and Martin O'Neill's side have the lead at home to St Mirren.
Well, that should enliven the crowd even further. It should calm Celtic's nerves. Oxlade-Chamberlain scored a late goal for Celtic against Livy. And everyone thought he'd kick on from there, but he's had an indifferent time at Celtic, but that's a big goal, massive goal. Likewise, Joe Hugel against Dundee, Kilmarnock at home, that gets their crowd going as well. So big start for Celtic and Kilmarnock.
Yeah, it was a shot from Callum McGregor that fell into the path of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, around 12 yards out, left-footed into the bottom corner. No chance for Shamal George in the St Mirren goal, and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain has given Celtic the lead. Kilmarnock 1-0 up, and something interesting going on at Pittodrie as well. I think there was a challenge by Grant Hanley on Toyosi Olasanya in the box. The referee has gone to the screen, so this could be a penalty, and I think potentially a possible red card check as well. The penalty has been given, so we'll get a further update on Dave Galloway on whether there is a card shown as well. But a chance for Aberdeen to take the lead from the spot against Hibs.
Yeah,
and it is a red card for Grant Hanley as well, so he must have been proven to not have made an honest attempt for the ball, and it's been sent off.
That's a double whammy. If Aberdeen scored the penalty, they've been awarded a penalty, not a goal, so they have to score it. but that's a real double whammy, a big bad blow for David Gray. It would be, I'd have to think.
Yeah, it could be a big goal, and big goal at the top of the Championship. St Johnstone beating Airdrie,
and that's
1-0.
also Hanley out of the Edinburgh Derby, is it not?
It is indeed.
He'll miss the next two because he got sent off against Motherwell earlier on in the season, I think for a similar situation. I think it was the Dogs who gave away a penalty, and as well, so he'll get a 2-game ban. It's usually a 1-game ban for that because it's his second time. So he will miss the Edinburgh Derby,
which is a blow for them. But
you wonder about his Scotland chances as well. Was in the squad for the 2 friendlies recently, but didn't get on the pitch.
He'll be there.
Yeah,
Steve Clark loves him.
Yeah.
He'll start in the World Cup.
Kevin Nisbet steps up to take the penalty.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Kevin Nisbet scores a flurry of goals in the top flight. It's Aberdeen 1, Hibs 0. Goals in the Championship as well, as Gordon said. St Johnstone 1, Airdrieonians 0. Rory Payton scoring. But straight away, Partick Thistle respond in their match. Partick Thistle 1, Dunfermline 0. Alex Samuel with the goal for Mark Wilson's side.
I'm a believer in fate. I think that double whammy at Pittodrie, penalty goal for Aberdeen, Grant Hanley sent off for Hibs. I think fate has decided, Hibs, it's not your day.
Yeah, difficult for them now. But as we said earlier, at the start of the game was going to be so important, and if Hibs got on top, how would the Aberdeen fans react? So it's gone the opposite way. That'll give them a real boost, and maybe the players could just calm down and settle and see this one out, but I wouldn't put my money on it.
Yeah, Pittodrie is bouncing, according to Dave Galloway. There was another chance for St Mirren not long after that Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain goal. It was a Mikael Mandron header that went just wide, so it doesn't look as if Craig McLeish's side have been deterred too much by going behind.
Well, I give you the Neil McCann quote, fear wins you nothing. So they're a goal down, playing a full house at Celtic Park, but they're clearly not intimidated.
Well, the results are not going for them at the moment. The scorelines, Aberdeen winning, Kilmarnock winning, and so all of a sudden that win last week just took them that 3 points out of Kilmarnock. They would be back level if the scores stay the same. So if they can get a point out of that game at Celtic Park, I think someone would be delighted.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so the state of play in the top flight. There have been 3 goals so far in 3 different games. Celtic have that lead at home to St Mirren, and no goals though in the big one. The other one, big one at the top between Hearts and Motherwell. Aberdeen have the lead against 10-man Hibs, and a 1-0 lead for Kilmarnock over Dundee.
Who started the best at Tynecastle, Andrew, do we know?
We'll wait and find out. I don't think there's been a whole lot going on at Tynecastle so far. Not had too many updates from Roger Hannott on that. He can tell us very shortly. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain looking a lot fitter, according to David Friel. Looks a bit sharper. It was always going to take him a bit of time, I think, to get up to speed, and Martin O'Neill will be hoping that he can get up to speed in time for these crucial games coming up.
Well, in the process of getting up to speed, as I say, the goal against Livy was priceless. Saved Celtic that night, got them 3 points, and this goal today is potentially priceless if it leads to a Celtic win. I
think sometimes when players are signed in January, especially he hadn't played in the first part of the season, it does take them a longer time to get themselves fully fit, but fans expect them to be doing it week in, week out. If all he does is score that winner goal against Livingston, and then this turns out to a winner today, and Celtic win the league, it's absolutely worth the money that they're spending on him. So somebody's come look at that.
With M&D Green Pharmacy.
Sorry, just interrupting you there, because there has been a goal at Tannadice. Dundee United 1, Livingston 0. Will Ferry on the score sheet for Jim Goodwin's side. So, as we mentioned earlier, they're looking to try and pull away from the rest of the bottom 6, and that's not a bad way about going about it.
Here it is. Ferry scores. The ship has sailed for Livy.
You're in with the big boys today.
That's worse than my Sparrow one.
No.
We did get an update from Roger on what's happening at Tynecastle. He said Hearts are coming into it a bit now after a quiet start.
Well, we'll certainly get a good lively start to the Premiership goals. I honestly, I said to Hugh when I come in today that I fancy Celtic to be comfortable today for some reason. Don't know why, just because they're at home, that big crowd, the Green Brigade back in, the atmosphere, the importance of the game. I know St Mirren have found a little bit of form. I think the second goal could probably kill St Mirren the same way as the second goals kill Neil Lennon's Dunfermline down at Firhill as Partick go 2 up.
Yeah, a goal for Alex Samuel, a second goal for Alex Samuel, which means that Partick Thistle have a 2-0 lead over Dunfermline. Dunfermline have been in good form as well. They're trying to secure that final playoff place, but Partick Thistle on the chase against St Johnstone.
I think they'll get there anyway, Dunfermline. But they've got a big game next Saturday as well, because they play Falkirk, local derby. There'll be a decent crowd, semi-final, one of them in the cup final. So I think they'll get 4th place anyway. Last 4 or 5 games, their form's been terrific and they've left everybody else behind them. But closest to them, of course, are Queen's Park. Great result for Queen's last night. Well done to Jim Duffy. Sean Crichton, who's an old PFA Scotland management committee member. People maybe don't know so much about him as a coach, but they've done well this year, because huge cuts at that club. But what a state Ross County are in.
Well, not only 2 points behind the bottom of the table, 2 points behind Airdrie, who are second bottom, but Airdrie have 2 games in hand. So the unthinkable is about to become a statement of fact, and Ross County are going down to the 3rd tier of Scottish football.
Just the optics of the goal that Ross County conceded last night must be so frustrating for supporters and the management, because Aidan Connolly, who is the smallest player on the pitch, potentially the smallest player in the division, almost having to duck down in the middle of the box to head the ball in, is...
And you look at the Ross County team, there's a lot of players who've played in the Premiership with them, and there's players they brought up from other clubs as well who played Premier League football or Premiership football. It's just hard to know where it's all gone wrong. And of course tonight as well, Inverness are playing Stenhousemuir, top 2. Inverness are a couple of points behind by game in hand, but you could actually end up having a League 1 derby next year, Ross County against Inverness. Who'd have thought that?
Wow. Just to go back to Dazzler's point about he thinks it could be comfortable for Celtic today. When they got to 1-0 early against Dundee last Sunday, you're thinking a second goal and Celtic will really dominate this match. And Shvanchara then had a terrible miss, and the second goal just didn't come, and we all know then that the second half penalty for Dundee, and the game was in the balance. So between now and half time, if Celtic can get a second one, then they can breathe far more easily. But if they don't, then it's a nervy second half.
The only reason I was confident, when you're talking about Dens Park, was going to be difficult, but it's Celtic Park, and I'd expect them to get more goals.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Kilmarnock 1, Dundee 1. Dundee hit back at Rugby Park, and it's Simon Murray on the score sheet once again, and that will be a bit of a relief for Stephen Presley after conceding an early goal all square at Rugby Park.
Yeah, I knew it was Simon Murray. I seen him run by the window celebrating it. What a player he's been for a minute. I would have loved to have played with Simon Murray up front.
You'd have done all your running.
100%. I'd have went, just you do all the donkey work and put the ball in here.
And then any shot he would have had, you would have tried to tap in over the line as well.
I would have taken the glory, don't you worry about that one.
You just play between the posts.
Exactly, mate. 18-yard box.
And he would have done it for you. He'd have ran and ran and ran and
Brilliant.
Great lad as well, Simon.
Was the most you run when you were celebrating?
I didn't really run when I was celebrating. No, I wasn't a keen runner and celebrating. But I've got to say that it's all about 18-yard box for me. I was quite a lazy player, but terrific goals for him.
Modest.
That sounds like his gravestone, doesn't it? Here lies Dalziel. I was a bit lazy, but I could score.
Well, I hope you put a football box outside that.
We'll celebrate well.
So the fact that
he near enough ran to the halfway line celebrating, Kerry Pollock's telling us.
He's absolutely brilliant when he scores. And do you know something? I love that, because it shows you the feeling he gets when he scores a goal. It's the best feeling in football. Scoring, putting the ball in the back of the net. Well done to him.
I like players acting a bit too nonchalant when they score. You want someone just going for it.
Yeah.
I know. Get round the park a few times.
Got all our Instagram poses now. This is the way I celebrate.
In fairness, one man that would be doing Instagram poses now celebrating would be Gordon Dalziel. 100%. If you see some of the content that he puts out on Instagram, you would have known where the cameras were, and you would have been getting some content loaded up.
I'd have my own PR team round about the pitch.
Simon, you'd have Simon Murray taking photographs.
He sounded the first real chance between Hearts and Motherwell, and it's a save by Alexander Shvolov from Elliot Watt after a Motherwell break.
Well, Tynecastle is the only ground in the Premiership with no goals thus far. Tension rises.
I was at you were talking earlier about the game. It was 3-3 earlier on the season. It was the best game of the season by far, and by this point Motherwell were absolutely battering Hearts. I mean, they were literally 3-0 up with 60 minutes gone, and it could have been 6. They were brilliant. Then Hearts came back into it, got to 3-3. Braga nearly scored in stoppage time as well. Cal Morby a save. It was a brilliant game. Tensions rising though for both these teams at this moment, so they're maybe a bit more cautious.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
What a game at Rugby Park. It's now Kilmarnock 1, Dundee 2, and the away side have come back from a goal down, 2 goals in quick succession, just waiting to see who the goal scorer was for that second goal. It was Kella Roos that saved a shot, but of course, who was running onto it? Simon Murray to get his second goal of the game, and then he ran 4 times the length celebrating, and it is Kilmarnock 1, Dundee 2.
Need to put a statue up in Dundee city centre beside who is it? Desperate Dan.
Desperate Dan.
Statue there.
Desperate
so we put Desperate Simon beside him.
Again, it was talked about Kilmarnock before the game. Defence, they've lost more than 2 goals a game, just about 2 goals a game this season. There's another 2 again, and if you keep losing 2, then it's a real difficult one. But that's a big scoreline at the moment, because I think that's a huge 3 points for either team. Dundee win, I think they're pretty well safe, but Kilmarnock win, of course, that drags Dundee right into the equation for 11th.
Yeah, it would open up an 8-point gap on Kilmarnock in 11th place if they can win that game. In fact,
VAR?
I don't think that goal is going to count. I think a VAR check has shown that Simon Murray was offside, so it remains 1-1. So all that running from Simon Murray has gone to waste this time.
Cancel that statue.
Yep. There's a delay at Celtic Park for a bit of treatment, and Shamal George is going to have to go off, so there's going to have to be a change in goal for St Mirren, which you don't see all too often, but an injury to Shamal George means that he will make his way off the pitch. And
Ryan Mullen, come on, he's the reserve
Ryan
He's
Mullen
played a few games this year. He was a Celtic young lad. He signs from Morton in the summer, but he's not played many this year. That's a real blow and a pressure game for the young lad, Ryan.
Well, point number 1, Shamal George is a really good goalkeeper. So you've lost him and you've got inexperience in his place, so good luck to Ryan Mullen, but that's a blow for St Mirren.
And we'll also be hoping he's not long term. At this stage of the season, if you're out for a month, you're out for the season, and there's so many games coming up for St
Well,
Mirren.
you get a big one next week.
Semi-final.
Yeah.
Alexander Shvolov, speaking of goalkeepers, he's had to make another save, this time from Ibrahim's side. So Motherwell with a couple of efforts on the Hearts goal.
Well, you know the story. The Hearts fans know that Celtic are a goal up, and Fraser was talking about 40 years ago when Celtic were several goals up and Hearts couldn't get a goal and lost the league on the final day of the season. So the Hearts fans, they will begin to get a little restless round about this time. Half an hour gone, still 0-0, and their goalkeeper has been the busier.
I was telling you earlier, Hugh, that I was playing for Motherwell against Rangers that day, last game of the season when Celtic won the league, so 40 years ago. Rangers had to beat us on the last day of the season to finish 5th, and they did on goal difference from Dundee. But Davy Cooper, playing directly against Davy Cooper, who came over to me, he was absolutely delighted when he heard that Kidd had scored, because he thought it was Walter Kidd of Hearts. So he jogged off the pitch. He was happy, man, Davy Cooper. Of course, he found out it was Albert Kidd and Celtic won the league.
I thought you were going to say he was delighted. He knew he was playing against you.
Of course. As he stuck it through my legs the 3rd time.
Should we check in on that teaser?
Yes. Tell me the last 6 St Mirren players to score against Celtic in the league at Celtic Park. Now, no one has scored for them today, as yet, and today doesn't count. Before today, who were the last 6 St Mirren players to score against Celtic in a league game at Celtic Park?
Jamie Dock has gone for Marcus Fraser.
No.
Scott McScott has gone for Alex Gogic.
You would think that both of those guesses you would think might have been true, but neither.
He's also gone for Declan John.
No.
Okay, we will continue to get the correct answers, some of the wrong answers on that teaser. And of course, at the end of the half, we will see who's on the podium at Clyde SSB. All 6 answers in the one tweet to get your way onto the podium. Ryan Mullen is officially on. Jamal George just walked off. Not overly clear what part of his body he injured, but he is injured, won't be able to continue. And Ryan Mullen is on, so a big appearance for the 24-year-old. You'd expect he'll have a few saves to make between now and the end of the afternoon.
Well, the Celtic fans will be using a word more emphatic than expect. They will demand more goals. So it's a tense-old afternoon. As I say, the Hearts fans know Celtic are in front. The Celtic fans know Hearts haven't scored. So on we go.
Just thought the Hearts with the players coming back, Hugh, Shankland, Devlin, Stuart Finley's back today. I think he's a big miss for them as well. I thought Hearts would, the last few weeks, would kick on again. It just hasn't quite happened, and I think it's because now they can put it to one side, the Championship. Is it going title race? Just put it to one side until you get to this stage. All of a sudden now they'll be talking about it in the office, talking about it in the ground, talking about training. They know fine well that they're right in this race. They can't ignore it anymore, and it's a bit nervy every Hearts game just now.
Yeah, how much of it is just that mental side of the game that the Hearts players are going to have to deal with that they won't have had to deal with before?
I'll be interested to see. I think we go too early. 33 minutes on the clock. There are a lot of football still to be played at Tynecastle. Secondly, you're playing against a real decent side. You know what I mean? Yes, they've fallen away a little bit, but they are very, very dangerous. Another goal that's winning.
Yeah, that pendulum keeps on swinging at Rugby Park.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Simon Murray thought he had put Dundee 2-1 up. That was ruled out for offside. And now Kilmarnock have gone 2-1 up on Dundee. Michael Shinning-Larson, who's been a really good addition for Kilmarnock since joining a few months ago. It was a right-footed finish from inside the box. Lovely strike from the Estonian. And they are now 2-1 up.
Well, great game. Kerry Pollock there must be enjoying that. And the supporters will be enjoying it as best they can, because it's the old emotional roller coaster there.
2-0 for St Johnstone as well against Rangers.
So Morgan Boys on the score sheet.
Doesn't look like Partick Thistle, Mark Wilson, are going to get any ground on St Johnstone today, even though they're 2 up Thistle and playing well. But a tough one, I think St Johnstone will get.
I thought I had a nightmare. Did I see that Mark get Manager of the Month again? Surely not. They did 3-0 St Johnstone now.
Oh wow, 2 goals in quick succession there for the league leaders in the Championship. Rory Payton with his second goal of the game. A 3-0 lead for St Johnstone, so that game is surely done and dusted already, which is 35 minutes on the clock. I'm just having a look.
I'm sure I read that.
Manager of the Month for March for the Scottish Championship, Mark Wilson.
How did you feel when you read that?
It's ridiculous. Not the fact, right? I just look at, they're giving out these awards. I think they're just putting their hand in, pick out a name, right? Stuart Kelwell, sitting bottom of the league. He got it. He was the last manager in the Championship to get it, right? Mark gets it, and the worst is, I sent Mark his first one. I sent him a video saying, congratulations, the first one's always easiest to get. Wait till you get to 3 and 4 like I did. He's bypassed me in one season.
Well, you look at Partick Thistle's Championship results for March. They beat Morton, drew with table topper St Johnstone, beat Wraith, beat Ross County. 3 wins and a draw against the team top of the table. Surely that's Manager of the Month form.
Right, what did St Johnstone do? Oh, there you go.
They drew with Thistle.
Well, says they drew with Thistle.
Their results in March were a win against Morton, a win against County, so 2 of the exact same results as Thistle, drew with Thistle, and then drew with Queen's Park. So 2 wins and 2 draws.
But drew away from home, which was a harder fixture list.
No, they drew at home to Queen's Park.
Yeah, still a tough game.
Partick Thistle picked up.
You heard Fraser. Queen's Park are gone brilliant.
Never let the facts get in the way of a good story.
Yeah. Well done, Mark. Well done. Delighted for you.
Another goalkeeper getting treatment. This time it's Callum Ward, the Motherwell goalkeeper who dropped a cross, landed awkwardly, I think was maybe barged into by a Hearts player potentially, and is getting some treatment. So, I mean, he's been a real success story for Motherwell this season, like a lot of the players have been. So Jens Bertalascu will be hoping that he'll be able to continue.
Well, it's an action-packed first half, many stories, twists and turns. I still think Celtic Park and Tynecastle will be
nervy,
difficult places to be, Fraser.
Yeah, nervy. I think Celtic seem to have started the game very well, Hugh, but they want that second goal, don't they? And because they've been fragile this year, they've not been winning games by a lot of goals. The fans will begin to into the second half. Someone could get a grip of it, but I think Celtic go on and win it. Tynecastle, I think, will be more nervy. They haven't got their noses.
Is your modern day thought of a supporter now that if you've not won the game by 35, 37 minutes, you get nervous?
Well, they just go on. They go on. Games I go to does week in, week out, no matter who they are. If you're not playing after 20 minutes, they're on your back.
Do you know the other thing about it, Fraser? Not like our day. You knew that game finished at 4:45, right? Because I knew where I was going to be at 5:15, right? Guaranteed. But nowadays, the VAR plays. You're not playing. You're playing about 98, 99 minutes sometimes. Plenty of time to go.
A shot from Benjamin Nygren from the edge of the box was saved, so he's unable to get on the score sheet so far, but tends to find a way.
Well, he's at 19 for the season, and the man after him for Celtic is Dalziel Maeda with 8, and Dalziel Maeda hasn't scored in his last 16 games.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I'll throw this to you, Hugh, because I don't want to. It was just in case MD was listening, right? Just in case MD was listening. Somebody actually asked me the question. Nygren scores 23, 24 goals, right? And goes on to have should he be voted?
Wins the title.
Should he be in the running for Player of the Year? I don't know who to ask.
Would he be the most likely Celtic player to get in there, surely?
No, because I think his performances have been not that great, to be honest with you.
But I agree
he's scoring goals for fun as a midfield player, which is exceptional for Celtic.
I agree with Andrew's point of view that if not Nygren and his 19, possibly 20 plus goals, who for Celtic?
It's a good question.
No, I'm talking about events we go to. I'm not naming any. Right, I'm not naming any. Right,
start naming it, you're not being invited.
One's in a Sunday in May. Right, that's all I'm going to throw out there. But he scored 19 goals. Would he be in running as a midfield player? 19 goals is some return.
Yeah.
Right, and a team that we'll all agree is probably one of the worst Celtic teams we've seen for a while.
Because I think a lot of people would expect the individual awards to be dominated by Hearts and Motherwell, two teams that have had the most praise this season. Are there, if you look at Celtic and Rangers, who haven't had a lot of praise so far this season, who is the most likely player out of the Celtic and Rangers teams to get in a Player of the Year shortlist? Is it Benjamin Nygren based on the number of goals and assists he's got this season?
But you're also looking at, you said there Hearts and Motherwell, and I do agree. I think there have been a lot of outstanding performances. Look at Falkirk. There have been a lot of outstanding performances from Falkirk players. But what I'm saying is, for me, I would never think of voting for Nygren for in the top 4 for Player of the Year. But if you put his stats down there as a midfield player in a struggling Celtic team, 19, and is the votes in, Fraser?
It's this week.
This week, there you go. So he could score today.
I will say people probably vote in different ways as well. There'll be some people that will do the in-depth. They'll go on, statistics, and when it's the PFA awards, the players will be going on who was the toughest player to play against, who made the biggest impact, who was hardest to come up against. Exactly. But maybe some of the external awards, some people might just look at numbers and goals and assists and that type of thing.
I think it's interesting. That's a good point, because you talked earlier about yourself just being a goal scorer, and that's important, but you just saw your role. Let somebody else get involved in the play, let people build up the play, you get in the box and score.
And I won the championship, won two, was it 2 years? I can't remember. I won it that many, but deservedly so.
But the point being that if he'd a striker that scored 25 goals and that was inverted commas all he did, you'd be praising him. Be praising him, and rightly. So now you've got a midfield player. Some people say, but all he does is score goals, and I think that's not a bad thing to have all you do, So the team of the year will be interesting. That'll be interesting. It's usually dominated by Old Firm. This year, who knows? With Rangers, who would be up there?
Mikey Moore.
Mikey Moore, maybe. Yeah.
A big goal in League 2. Spartans have equalised against Stranraer. It is Mark Stowe on the score sheet. I think East Kilbride are still behind, so would that put East Kilbride and Spartans on level points?
It would, yes.
In League 2 at the moment. In what is looking like a very good race for the League 2 title. East Kilbride would still lead the way on goal difference.
Anybody got the first half teaser?
Waiting to see if we do have a podium on that or not, and we'll get that wrapped up before we go around the grounds for the half-time scores.
Goal for Dumbarton as well against Stirling Albion. Be a shame. We're in Clydebank. You're Clydebank, just down the road, and a great old club, Dumbarton. But I think that win would mean they're safe from being in the playoffs at the end of the season. They plummeted recent years. Remember watching them against Hibs and Hearts and maybe Rangers when they were in the Championship. They're a brilliant team in the Championship. So you'd hate to see Dumbarton out of the league, but I think today's win, if they win that, then I think that's
why it's important that Clydebank win away today at Linlithgow Rose, try and get them back into the SPFL.
They've dropped a wee bit, haven't they, though? Their form.
Have they?
But Dumbarton, you're right, that's my romantic story. The night after I got engaged, or the day after I got engaged, I took Janet to see Dumbarton play Clydebank.
And she's still with you?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
How did that go down?
Still
together, yeah.
But it was New Year. It was the New Year fixture, and in those days you could have a wee nip. Yeah. So.
And to that bargain, it was a free bay. So, i.e., why you took.
That's all that really matters.
Made sure he was working, get the girlfriend in for free. Thank you.
Some good news for you there, Hugh. The Seagulls 1-0 up away at Burnley. Brighton, Matt's Weaver on the score sheet. Just I saw a tweet earlier on from Alan Hudson, who had tweeted us in, and he was talking about the race for the Lowland League title with, Clydebank, Linlithgow Rose, Bonnyrigg Rose all going for it. That looks like a great race with 2 games to go. Clydebank on 70 points, Linlithgow Rose on 69, Bonnyrigg Rose on 68. Another 3-way title race.
And do they play Brecon? Did Brecon win the Highland one the other night there? I'm sure they were going for the...
I think they lost to Brora.
I don't think it's concluded yet. I think it's maybe this weekend, because they conceded a late goal to Brora, which meant that Brora are now in the driving seat. And remember, was I on with you, or I was possibly on with Alex Ray, and Killian Sheridan was telling us that Brecon have lost the last 2 league titles on goal difference, and going into the final weekend of action, that goal that Brora Rangers scored late on against Brecon means that they go into the final day behind the Brora Rangers on goal difference and could lose the league title for the 3rd successive season on goal difference, which is incredible.
I remember seeing Brecon play against St Mirren and a few other teams in the Championship, and then they didn't win a game. They drew 4 games all season, and they got relegated from League 1 to League 2, relegated from League 2. They just went down 3 relegations in a row.
Is the hedge still there?
I think it's still there,
I like playing up there.
Muddy every time.
I like playing up there.
So what are we to make of Hearts and Celtic then? No goals for Hearts, 1 goal for Celtic, but not emphasising their advantage.
Well, there's a
nervy as Fraser said.
Emery, Derby there, Wraith Rovers and Morton. We'll not be happy with that.
Cameron Blues scoring the opening goal in that game. Let's wrap this up, Hugh, shall we, before we go around the grounds at half time?
The first half teaser with Archiplan Glasgow. Planning permission and building warrants drawings for home extension, conversion or renovation.
The last 6 St Mirren players to score against Celtic in the league at Celtic Park are Jonah Ayunga, Mark O'Hara, Conor McMenamin, Curtis Main, Ilke Durmus and Christian Dennis.
Well done to Craig Bradley, who was in 3rd place on the podium. 2nd place was Sean Grantham, but top of the pile, Robbie Collins was in there quickest. So well done to him. He was top of the podium. We will, as usual, have a Who Am I for the second half teaser, so make sure to stick around for that. I'll also get a wee update on the Lowland and Highland League scores in the second half as well, just to let you know what's going on the top of those tables, because they are very exciting. 6 minutes added at Celtic Park for injury time, 2 added at Rugby Park, 3 at Pittodrie, 3 at Tynecastle, so we still got a wee bit of time to play around the grounds. A chance for some late action.
I think we jumpy at Tynecastle. If we go in at half time 0-0, the fans will be jumpy, because You're really looking for some kind of reassurance. I know that Dazzler's right, the games last 90 to 99 minutes today, but at half time you just get time to reflect and you start to get jittery.
It doesn't sound as if they've been peppering the Motherwell goal, that Callum Ward had a lot to do. I think there's just been a drop off. Chesnikov hasn't come in and been the star that they hoped he would be. He's on the bench today. Kizaridis, brilliant for half the season. His form's dropped a wee bit, so that creativity has just dropped out of the other team as well. But we all know that teams that win leagues win these types of games 1-0, so a scrappy 1-0 might be just enough for Hearts.
It would be incredible if they won 5 successive home games 1-0.
Yeah, given this goal scoring at the start of the season, free flowing football is going 2-3-4. But it just shows you the tension at this time of the season is just everywhere in the Premiership.
2 minutes added at Tannadice as well, so I think that one is running slightly behind the rest of the matches, but all relatively quiet as we're heading into injury time in those games. We've had action in most of the matches.
I think you always come back to the same thing with Celtic. Obviously Chamberlain's got the goal, midfield player. Shvanchara draws a blank. Iheanacho, will you bring him on second half because Shvanchara continues to draw blanks.
The first half-time whistle is at Rugby Park. Kerry Pollock.
Yeah, great start from Kilmarnock. Early pressure from Neil McCann's side. Greg Kiltie and Finlay Curtis linking up well, peppering the box on a number of occasions within the opening 10 minutes here today. But the goal came through Bruce Anderson's effort, which ricocheted off the Dundee defence. It fell perfectly for Joe Hugel to volley it past John McCracken. That's 2 goals in 3 weeks for the striker now. But Dundee did pull one back through Simon Murray's header. He got on the end of Tony Yange's cross. Not too long after that, Ethan Hamilton's shot from around 30 yards was saved by Bruce, but pushed onto the path of Murray, who was there just a few yards to put it into the back of the goal. But it was indeed called for offside. And then quick to react, Kelly at the other end of the pitch. A neat finish from left back Michael Shinning-Larsen with a lovely right-footed shot into the back of the net. It's all action here at Rugby Park. At the break it stands. It's Kilmarnock 2, Dundee 1.
There is a check for a possible red card for violent conduct for Aberdeen. So Hibs are down to 10, and that would be a real kick in the teeth for Stephen Robinson if Gyamfi is sent off late in the half. We'll check in on that after getting the half-time picture from Tynecastle with Roger Hannah.
And it's Hearts 0, Motherwell 0 at the break, Andrew. I did promise you drama, I did promise you tension, and I did promise you anxiety, and we have it all 3 in this first 45 minutes in Gorgie. Hearts started okay. Lawrence Shanklin, the skipper, had a brief glimpse of goal inside 4 minutes after Claudio Braga had intercepted Stephen Welsh's clearing header, but he fired wide of the right-hand post. At the other end, Tawanda Maswanisi's cross from the right, just too high for Lucas Fidingered in the 6-yard line, and it really has gone end to end ever since then. The busier goalkeeper has been Alexander Swallow of Hearts. He made a couple of really smart saves. The first one was to deny Elliot Watt after a sweeping move down the left. It was started by Longello. Ibrahim Saeed and Elijah Just were both involved, just cut the ball back from the left, reached the edge of the box, and there was Watt with a shot that the goalkeeper did really well to push out. And they needed him again moments later. Ibrahim Saeed this time threatening again from distance. Decent save from Swallow. It was one you would expect him to make, but it was one he did make. Hearts fans sticking with their team. They were getting a little bit upset. 3 decent lengths stoppages in play for treatment to Motherwell players. Goalkeeper Callum Ward, he went down, he dropped across under pressure in the box, he landed awkwardly. Stephen Welsh hacked the ball to safety. Ward needed treatment. Then moments later it was Elijah Just down. Referee Matthew McDermott stopping the play for treatment to the New Zealand international. And similarly a few moments later when Longello went down, that led to 3 minutes of stoppage time, but it was Motherwell who were on the front foot in that 3 minutes of stoppage time. Set piece, the corner from the right from Fadinger had to be booted clear by Kizaridis out of the Hearts box. Closest Hearts have really come to anything. It's from set pieces. There was a corner from the right by Stephen Kingsley, headed off target by Stuart Finlay. There was another delivery from the left, this time Ocean McEntee got it closest to it, and it was somehow smuggled to safety. And then a smart free kick 25 yards out after a foul on Claudio Braga. It was taken by Kizaridis. It was worked to Blair Spittle, but his low right foot shot just wide of Ward's left hand post. Hearts have won their last 4 games here by a goal to 0. They might just need to do the same today because it's very, very tight here, Andrew. Hearts 0, Motherwell 0.
Also half time at Celtic Park. David Friel.
Yeah, half time, Celtic 1, St Mirren 0. A really strange incident just a few seconds before half time. Celtic had a chance to get a shot away, didn't in the St Mirren box. Now time was up, but St Mirren then embarked on a counter attack, and Killian Phillips, I think it was a 2-on-1, and referee Duncan Nicholson pulled the play back and just blew for half time. Craig McLeish, the St Mirren manager, was not happy at all, Andrew. He was on the pitch asking for an explanation. I think Duncan Nicholson will simply say, well, time was up, but it was a really promising St Mirren attack. So a very strange end to the half. It's going to plan for Celtic, I suppose. So far they lead thanks to Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain's opener. They do deserve to be ahead. They've had most of the ball, most of the chances, but St Mirren have had their moments even until late in this first half. I think Martin O'Neill's big concern will be that Celtic haven't managed to get that second goal yet, obviously, and this could still get nervy after the break. Celtic's still been very blunt, as Hugh was saying during the show. You know, Thomas Trinchara up front, he just looks so short of confidence, and you do wonder whether Kelechi Iheanacho will come on for the second half. Celtic started really well. The Green Brigade are back. They've been very noisy on the return. The atmosphere was very, very loud at the start. Celtic get balls into the box at every opportunity. Oxlade-Chamberlain had an early goal disallowed. Callum McGregor's shot saved by Jamal George. Oxlade-Chamberlain's volleyed finish was brilliant, but he was clearly offside as he did that. It was a tough opening for St Mirren, but credit to him, they played some nice stuff. They settled really well, knocked the ball about. Jonah Ayunga had a shot effort wide. Miguel Freckleton had a low effort save. Celtic were in a game clearly, but then Oxlade-Chamberlain settled the early nerves with the opener in 15 minutes. Callum McGregor again, a low shot fell into the path of his teammate. Oxlade-Chamberlain fired a low finish into the bottom corner. It was a great goal. It was just what Celtic needed, but St Mirren still didn't sit back. Mikael Mandron headed wide because Celtic had a lot more problems, but there was also a fair bit of action in the other box, and St Mirren suffered a real blow when Jamal George was forced off injured after colliding with Thomas Trinchara. Keeper was replaced by Ryan Mullen. He was involved immediately as the Czech striker had a shot charged down. Mullen saved from Benjamin Egan's culling effort. Celtic searched for a second goal. It hasn't arrived so far, and St Mirren did have a little chance just before half time. Liam Donnelly headed over in injury time. As I said, Trinchara is really struggling up front, and you do wonder where Iheanacho will be summoned at the break. Half time, Celtic 1, St Mirren 0.
It's also the break at Tannadice with Alison McConnell.
Yeah, half time, and it's Dundee United 1, Livingston 0. Will Ferry's 19th minute goal was the difference between the teams here at Tannadice. Livingston, of course, hanging on by their Premiership fingertips, and it is United who go into the break with their noses in front. Babkar Fatih had a couple of half chances in the opening stages, including a volley that was well wide, while Jerome Prior dropped a Will Ferry free kick but claimed it at the second attempt. United were forced into an early change when Amar Fatah pulled up. He had to be replaced by Neil Farrugia with no one near him. It looked like a bad one, with Fatah helped off the pitch by the United physios, and the suspicion is that it will be a hamstring injury. There weren't too many genuine chances in the opening exchanges. Scott Arfield had an effort blocked at the edge of the box, while Lewis Smith forced David Richards into gathering an effort just at the second attempt. It was United, though, who took the lead. Max Waters cushioned a header into the path of Will Ferry. He cut inside from the left, in behind Kamikair, shunted the ball into his right foot and rifled his effort into the net. Yuri Ayovo, sporting a bloodied headband after a clash with Joel Nubler, made a mess of an attempted overhead kick, while May at the other end drove a free kick into the wall after Kerr had been upended by Emmanuel Aguiai. Livingston haven't created too much in this game, but they did cause just a couple of issues as this half came to a close. Cammy Kerr had a long throw into the box. It was flicked on, and United captain Ross Graham almost put the ball into his own net, with Richards just managing to scramble the ball away from the resulting corner. Daniel Finlayson headed over the bar. So as it stands here at half time, it is Dundee United 1, Livingston 0.
And finally, half time at Pittodrie with Dave Galloway.
Yeah, half-time at a raucous Pittodrie Stadium. Aberdeen 1, Hibs 0. Aberdeen took an early grip of play as they went in the attack and took a deserved lead on 17 minutes. Olusanya latched onto a ball over the top and was brought down in the box by Hanley. David Dickinson was called to the VAR screen, awarded a penalty and gave Hanley a straight red card. Nisbet coolly sent Salinger the wrong way with his spot kick. The Dons pushed for a second goal, and Jensen teed up Armstrong to curl just wide of the top corner from the edge of the box. Olusanya netted but was flagged offside. At the other end, 10-man Hibs were posing little threat. The home fans were making much noise as they cheered their dominant side on. Hibs came a little bit more into things and forced a corner, after which Obita's shot was charged down, but the Reds were on top for sure. Nisbet couldn't guide his header past Salinger after Jensen picked him out with a lovely cross, and Jensen himself then blasted way over from 6 yards. Late on in that first half, there was a moment of controversy. Gyamfi survived a VAR review of his challenge on Elding, which could well have been a straight red card. Looking at the rerun, it didn't look good at all, but this time the referee looked at the screen and decided on yellow. It's been a good first half here at Pittodrie. Aberdeen 1, Hibs 0.
We'll bring you the full half-time scores next.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Just about to get underway for the second halves across the Scottish Premiership and beyond. Let's go back to Celtic Park quickly, shall we? David Friel, is there any sign of any changes going into the second half?
No, Andrew, I don't think so. I thought Kelechi Iheanacho was going to come on because he was putting through a really rigorous warm-up and then disappeared up the tunnel, but Thomas Chinchara has re-emerged for the second half. He was just getting a bit of a pep talk from Mark Fotheringham, just trying to obviously boost his confidence. As I say, he did struggle in the first half, but he is going to get at least the start of the second half as Celtic look to get that second goal to maybe put the game beyond St Mirren. Just about to kick off now.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Get set for the season with expert pharmacy support.
Oh, Kelechi Iheanacho yet for Celtic. You'd expect Celtic supporters will see him at some point throughout the afternoon, though, Hugh.
Well, I think Chinchara's got 15 minutes. I mean, David is describing a player who is low on confidence. He's also low on ability. So you have to wonder if he hasn't got a goal in the first 15 minutes off Iheanacho on, because St Mirren, we're not able to see the game, but you can sense that St Mirren are far from out of this, and the game remains in a danger zone for Celtic, as it does for Hearts in Edinburgh against Motherwell. At least Celtic are a goal in front. Hearts haven't reached that stage yet, but Chinchara for me, he's got 15 minutes.
I think Iheanacho will be one who they'll look at to just almost wrap him cotton wool. There's so many muscle injury problems, and that comes really from not being match fit. He came at the start of the season, at the end of the window, at the beginning of the September, and he's picked up a lot of muscle injuries. But I think, as I was saying earlier, and I agree with them, that he's a number one choice striker. They've got 5 big games after today in the league. They've got a cup semi-final, so I think they'll build up his minutes, maybe 30 today, maybe 45 he could start the game, or 60 next week, trying to get him as fit as they possibly can for the last 5 league games.
That's why the supporters criticise the board so heavily. The transfer activity, Adamu, nowhere to be seen. Balikwisha, nowhere to be seen. Mvuka, nowhere to be seen. Celtic paid £5 million for Michel Ange Balikwisha. £5 million. He's no longer a Celtic player, but he's still getting paid. The recruitment has been awful. Chinchara will go back to German football because he can't be a Celtic player. So they're trying to win a title against all odds and expectation with a severely limited squad.
Should we get this underway, Hugh, before there are any second half goals in the Premiership?
The second half teaser with Archiplan Glasgow. Planning permission and building warrants drawings for home extension, conversion or renovation.
A goal went in the second I said that, but I'll let you do this first and then I'll bring you news of the goal.
I have won the Scottish League Cup and the Scottish Challenge Cup. I have been managed by Ray McKinnon and Jim Jeffries, and I've played alongside Scott Severin, James Penrice and David Templeton. Who am I?
All the information for that is at Clyde SSB on Twitter, and that is where you send your answer as well. The second half teaser, always simple. It's a who am I? Who am I? Start calling it that, really. It's a who am I? All we need is one answer in one tweet at Clyde SSB. Fastest wins. I'd tell you there was a goal to be getting on with.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And it's a good start to the half for the draw specialists. Dundee United 1, Livingston 1. Lewis Smith on the score sheet for the visitors. I think is it 5 draws in the last 6 games for Livingston, and they're looking to extend that run.
Lewis Smith, the man who got the goal to make it 2-2 against Hearts last Sunday, and he's at it again. So well done, Big Marv. If only he could have turned some of those draws into wins, he would still be in with a chance of staying up. But regrettably, too little too late.
1 win all season.
Yeah,
that's amazing. If they got a draw here, it'd be 14 draws this season for Livingston.
It's a famous date. What's the famous date?
I think it was
August 9th. There you go. Everybody will know where they were on August the 9th.
Who did they beat? Was it Falkirk?
Falkirk, yeah. That's the only team they could beat.
They were unbeaten in their first 2 matches of the season, weren't they?
Yeah.
It was looking good up until that point.
Yeah, but
a lot of people's favourites to win it.
To credit Big
Marv. I'll stop you there. We have a big goal in the Premiership.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And it's at Tynecastle, and it's Hearts 0, Motherwell 1. Emmanuel Longello. It was a big break down the left, the ball to the back post, and there was Manny Longello to tap in to give Motherwell the lead against the league leaders.
Well, panic stations now. And that news will reverberate around Celtic Park as well. So it's time to take Spanchara off and put a striker on if you can find one. That's a real crushing blow for Derek McInnes, because Motherwell at the best of times, you don't want to give them an advantage, and the crowd will be really on Hearts' backs now. After the Livy result last weekend, the crowd will be getting on the players' backs.
Nervy times, but I'll keep saying it, especially second half. You've got to lose that goal. May as well lose it right after gives you plenty of time to get back into the game. I said it at the beginning, Motherwell, yes, they dropped off, but you can't discount them. They're a good team. They know how to organise. They've tweaked 1 or 2 things today, but if your Hearts, you're still depending on those front 2 that can dig you out a hole. But it's a big hole that you need to start digging now.
Yeah, one of those changes was Emmanuel Longello moving into the front line instead of left back, and it's worked out so far today.
He scored a lot of goals from left back as well. He must be, I think, 6-7 goals, something like that this season, and I think his main attributes are attacking, so looks like a clever move by Jens Bertel. Askew, I was just on a quick look at the bench for Hearts. Test of Tony Bloom and Jamestown Analytics, because the guys who are on the bench that can maybe come on and change it, Chesnikov, Kabore, Karjota, Mato, all signed since they came in, and none of them have really set the hair on fire this year. So if you look at the bench, you're thinking, who can come on and change the game?
As things stand, the Motherwell winning, and Aberdeen beating Hibs, 6 points potentially between Motherwell and Hibs in that race for Europe.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Well, we said Livingston needed wins, not draws, and they've taken the lead at Tannadice. Lewis Smith with a quick fire double, and Jim Goodwin's side are behind at home to the team bottom of the table.
You remember where you were on the 11th of April 2026. That's incredible. Well done to Marv. Look, yes, I still think it's a long way back, but just to turn those draws into an odd win or 2 does brilliant for them.
Here's my theory. Dundee United have nothing to play for, not troubled by relegation.
But Jim will come under a bit of pressure losing.
Yeah, but he can't get inside the heads of 11 individuals on the park who, everyone will say Livy haven't won since August the 9th, and they're ahead at Tannadice. All credit to them, all credit to Marvin, Lewis Smith, who's now scored 3 goals on the bounce. But you have to ask questions of the Dundee United players. Have they just clocked off?
This goal will be the best of the lot that he scored as well, because he cut inside, fired a glorious 20-yard left-footed effort into the top corner.
And if you've got I Am Maximus in the Grand National, you are a lucky winner. He's just won the Grand National there.
What accent was that you started to go into?
Do you know what I was going to say? I was going to say the Scottish Grand National, and then I realised it was the Grand National.
And then just decided to
put on
adopt a different accent.
It was like Richard Park, you.
Yes.
Mid-Atlantic for all the older listeners to remember.
Second, two in a row.
Well, we've got a league in our hands now. Hearts down, Celtic up, but the crowd at Celtic Park will be getting anxious for that second goal, and they don't have players capable of scoring it.
Good when you look at the standings in the Scottish Premiership table now. Of course, Rangers have a game in hand. They're down to third as it stands on 66 points. Celtic on 67, just behind Hearts on goal difference, who are also on 67. 1 point separating the top three as it stands today, with Rangers, of course, still in action away to Falkirk tomorrow.
Rangers were on top of the table, I think, last week for 24 hours. The first time this season.
The first time in 2 years that Rangers had been top of the Premiership.
Unbelievable. And you think Rangers could go top and win the league when you think of the disastrous start to the season. There's people outside the ground at Falkirk. Russell Martin couldn't leave. People wanting his head in a plate.
And he got it the following day.
Patrick Stewart loses his job, the chief executive, so does the head of recruitment, and now you're looking at some of the players that the head of recruitment brought in, and they're beginning to play well, and thinking, what went on? It's an amazing season.
It's mad to think that Rangers' last visit to Falkirk that you were talking about, it doesn't even seem like that was this season. It was that long ago. We've had 4 seasons wrapped into one, so many different storylines. That was before Wilfred Nancy had even arrived on the scene at Celtic.
Has he only lost one game, Russell Martin? I think he only lost one game. It just shows you, though, fans get in people's heads and all of a sudden they get rid. Now, I'm not saying Russell Martin could have taken it on. I think it probably would have been Danny Roll, but Kevin Thirlwell will be sitting somewhere when he sees Chimiti scoring 3s and 2s in big games and thinking there's something in there. Mikey Moore's beginning to play as well, and other players that he's brought in, and you're thinking, well, maybe things weren't so bad, but they've got to go to Falkirk tomorrow. That'll be a difficult one. We know that Falkirk they will just go and play with freedom now and the end of the season with nothing to lose.
The natives are restless at Tynecastle as Maswanise puts a shot inches wide. Potential for Motherwell to go 2-0 up there, didn't quite manage it.
These are the sons and daughters of the fathers and mothers who were at Dundee 40 years ago.
The only thing I will say, Hugh, usually when we look at Hearts, the minute they have a bad result, they seem to bounce back. They drew at Livingston, they've went 1 point ahead. Rangers play tomorrow, Celtic are winning today. They're losing. Pressure would mount on them if they didn't get in today at Tynecastle.
I think that change for Trinchara coming off an Iheanacho on is not happening quite yet, but it looks as if it may be imminent, because Sean Maloney not happy on the touchline with Trinchara, his lack of pressing, and Iheanacho was out warming up alongside Arne Engels, who hasn't been involved recently because of injury. James Forrest is out warming up as well.
When Trinchara played his first game for Celtic at Tynecastle, you thought, there's something there.
Yeah, it was good.
But he's kept it a good secret since then. He's simply, you can say this of so many players at Celtic right now, far too many. I know a lot of them are only on loan, but there are so many players unworthy of a club of Celtic's size, it's embarrassing.
Think of the size of squads that these clubs have now, Hugh, as well. The amount of players at all the top clubs now that don't play, and it's almost as if in a transfer window, especially in January, and it comes to the end of it, they just want to get anybody in and hope it sticks and hope it's successful. It's amazing, the policy, and that's not just a Celtic thing. I think that has been the case this year, but across the board, the last day or two of the window, they just sign anybody, hoping they'll be good.
Everything is such a struggle for Celtic in attack, absolute struggle. Maeda, as I say, 8 goals today. If he fails to score today, that's 17 games in a row he hasn't scored. 17. So Celtic have nothing. They really need Yang, my old pal Yang, to suddenly come up with something. They need somebody to come up with something, otherwise they're walking a tightrope here.
I know what you're saying, they don't really, because 1-0 will do them. You know, as long as St Mirren don't hit them with a sucker punch, which is, if you're 1-0 up, is always going to be capable of happening. But if they even come off the part of the day and you go, right, okay, they've struggled to go over the line 1-0. At this stage of this stage of the season, it doesn't matter a jot.
Yeah, but
3 points is 3 points.
Yeah, but with half an hour to go, you have to take in the doomsday scenario first of all.
I'm not denying that, but all I'm saying is that they're in a good position. The fact that they're 1-0 up at home, they're dominating most of the ball. Yes, they can get caught because St Mirren, we've heard they're playing some nice stuff at times. I would expect the next goal to come from Celtic, if I'm going to be honest.
David Friel said some Celtic fans not too happy with Celtic sort of messing about with the ball at the back. St Mirren having a decent spell at the moment.
You also had a good point, David, about he was laughing saying Panchara scores a hat-trick and then Celtic go top of the league. But if Celtic were to rattle in a few goals, they would go top of the league in goal difference because they catch up that 5 difference between them and Hearts and start the game 1 game.
Schwanchara won't get 3 goals for Celtic between now and Christmas.
But Celtic score 3, they could be top of the table.
Yeah, but will you stop fiddling with your microphone?
Sorry, I had to stand up. We've got a bit of a back problem.
The problem is your back.
You've been carrying this show for years, Daz. No one needs
exactly, mate. That's it. That is a problem. I was hoping that you would shoulder a wee bit of the responsibilities after that. I'm the only one making good predictions out there.
How are the predictions?
Not too
going?
good.
Not good. thought that might be the case.
No. I've got 1 up. That's Celtic. It's only 1.
Yeah, that's the same for me.
You the same?
No, I went Kilmarnock, didn't I? They 1-1.
No, 2-1 up.
Yeah, I went Kilmarnock.
I went a draw.
Yeah, went Kilmarnock, and I went Motherwell draw.
I had Livy as a draw. So
yeah, but we're all still there or thereabouts. Let's get carried away.
Do you want to read that teaser out again, Hugh?
Yeah, this is the Who Am I section. I have won the Scottish League Cup and the Scottish Challenge Cup. I have been managed by Ray McKinnon and Jim Jeffries. I have played alongside Scott Severin, James Penrice and David Templeton. Who am I?
Not seeing many incorrect answers out there. How are you two getting on with this? Have you got it? No. Are you going to prove it at all by writing it down and showing Hugh, or you just...
Well, you know I'm brilliant at this.
So that means you've not got it?
I'm keeping an eye on his phone because I'm usually at games listening to Daz cheat, but I don't know who it is.
Oh, big goal before we get that from Gordon Dalziel. He does have the teaser, by the way, but this is way more important.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Hearts back level, and it's that man Claudio Braga once again. Hearts 1, Motherwell 1. It was a deep corner by Blair Spittle, back across goal by Stuart Finlay, hooked home by Claudio Braga. 14th league goal of the season for the Portuguese, but there will be a VAR check to see whether that goal will stand.
That's the last thing Derek McInnes needs.
Be nervy.
Yeah.
Nervy wait for 3 or 4 minutes.
You then begin to think, oh no, it's not going to be our day if they chalk it off.
They check everything, don't they? They check everything. I'll tell you what, if it does stand, he has been sensational for Hearts. I know they talk about Shankland, and I think he's been the find of the season for me.
His attitude is brilliant. I mean, he's not a big guy. His attitude, he drives at people, he takes the knocks, he gets on with the game. And he scored a few good headers as well for a guy that's not that tall. So,
well, you've seen his desire at Livingston last week.
Yeah.
There was only one winner there. It was a terrific header.
I would guess he might be in the top 4 of the...
I'm not guessing, I've put him there already.
Celtic have conceded quite a few corners, and the latest one of those had to be punched away from underneath the bar by Viljami Sinisalo. So St Mirren putting on a bit of pressure. The goal at Tynecastle stands, so Hearts are level and will now be pushing to try and get the goal to put them ahead and give them all 3 points.
So you put your house on Hearts now. If they don't, then they can forget it as well. But I put the house on Hearts getting a second goal here, and I'm beginning to think that the St Mirren goal is just around the corner.
You putting your other one on that?
I'll put the caravan in that.
His Tony Christie selection on that one.
A couple of changes for Celtic. Unsurprisingly, Kelechi Iheanacho comes on for Thomas Tranchara, and it is the reintroduction after injury of Arne Engels, who comes on for Benjamin Nygren.
Well, the crowd will be delighted to see both, particularly Iheanacho, to see if he can work wonders as he did at Dundee last Sunday. Engels, long time no see, but £11 million player. You're looking for an £11 million response from him.
Do you know, I was thinking about before the show started, or during the early part of the show, Andrew, I think somebody mentioned about Chris Sutton saying, that fans don't score goals, but Tynecastle will be rocking. 5 minutes ago, nervy, players making a mistake, the crowd will be on their back. Now they'll be absolutely rocking. Celtic Park, Green Brigade are back. It's a coincidence they've got 4 home games between now and the end of the season? I don't think so, but you've got that situation where the fans can have an influence. I know they can't literally score a goal, but they can have an influence both ways when you've got the home support as well. So Tynecastle will be absolutely alive, and they'll be driving their team forward.
Emmanuel Gyamfi for Aberdeen with some good skills, a shot from outside the box just wide. We did see the incident that involved Emmanuel Gyamfi just before the break.
Yeah.
Was he lucky to stay on the park in that VAR check?
I think it's a real mistake on the part of the referee, who has gone, looked at it, and for me it is an open and shut case of violent conduct.
Almost looked like either a two-handed shove or a two-handed sort of punch of some description to the back of Owen Elding's head. Maybe quite lucky to stay on the park, but it was checked. Referee went to the screen, decided it was only a yellow card.
I think when you go, so a rule of thumb is, if it's a shove or any kind of contact on the body, it's a yellow above the neck towards the head, no matter what it is, even how soft it is. It's a red. I think he was fortunate there, and once again you think, what do they see?
Hibs, of course, are down to 10 men. Grant Hanley was sent off for the challenge that led to Aberdeen's penalty early on in that game.
They're a strange lot, Hibs. They flatter to deceive. They took care of Kilmarnock with ease last weekend. Owen Elding looked the part up front. Young man, big future. But as I say, the double whammy early on, the concession of the penalty, the red card for Hanley, Kevin Nisbet scoring from the penalty, and they don't seem to have enough about them, Hibs, to take on adversity.
At the moment there's losing a bit of ground as well in Motherwell. Motherwell get a point, but Hibs have also got to be careful, because 5th might get into Europe if Celtic win the Cup. But Falkirk could catch them. Falkirk are 5 points behind, nothing to play for, going to enjoy the remainder of the season. They could end up not finishing 5th, and can you imagine Hibs didn't finish 5th and 5th got into Europe? That would be a hammer blow.
2 changes for Hearts. Kizaridis and Spittle off. Kabore and Kurjota are the 2 that come on to try and get Hearts a winner.
Still plenty of time, Hugh.
Yeah.
Still plenty of time for drama. You seem to think there'll be drama at Celtic Park.
Yeah.
I think that Celtic will get next goal. I wouldn't put it by Motherwell. There you go. Yeah, because I watched them against Hearts against Livingston, and 2-1 I thought,
listen,
Hearts have got to blow Livingston away.
A draw is a bad result for Hearts.
Yeah.
I mean, on top of a draw at Livy, if it remains 1-1 until the final whistle, then you've frittered away 4 points in a matter of 7 days.
I think Hearts will get there. I think they'll get one goal in them. I think almost the crowd willing the ball into the back of the net. I think they'll get there, and I think Celtic will get a second.
You were talking about Hibs there. You'd imagine that Stephen Robinson's thinking, surely that a second goal gets a bit of pressure off my back, gets 3 points. Have they brought in wee Joey Harper yet? Is he entered the field?
I don't think so. I think he's maybe still on the stand at this point.
Is he still warming up?
He's only got 10 minutes.
Joe was warming up.
Can you imagine having to put the boots on at our age? The thought of it, my body creaks at the thought of playing football.
My body creaks getting out of bed. I don't mind putting boots on.
So does mine.
Creaks getting in.
Kelechi Iheanacho did have his first opportunity there, where he sort of brushed off the first challenge of Miguel Freckleton pretty well at the edge of the box, but there was a second challenge that meant he couldn't quite get the shot away.
You see, that's my reason for feeling pessimistic about Celtic's chances of winning the league. They're simply inefficient up front. They're ineffective. Maeda has vanished.
I think 1 goal in 21 games, David Friel was saying, for Dalziel Maeda, which is incredible to think that his form at this time of the season last season is what got him his Player of the Year award.
You can't win the league with players who've got 1 goal in 21 games. Švančara, who looks as if he could play until the bells at New Year and not score.
Yet, if results stay the way they are today, Celtic are right up there, move to second, move closer to Hearts.
Yep. But we shall have to see if that 1-0 scoreline is the result.
They're just looking back at Celtic's results, and most of them, when they win, are just by the odd goal. They're just getting there, and that's not a great way to do it. And you always think, can you keep that going till the end of the season? But
people kind of flip it both ways to suit whatever narrative. Some people will say that it's not sustainable, you can't keep winning, scraping by, and then other people will say, it's the sign of champions. If you can keep on pushing, keep getting on those late goals, you can kind of just spin it either way you want.
I'll flip it. A lot of people still fancy Hearts to go and win the league. They're not blowing teams away. They're struggling. They're getting over the line. They're drawn at Livingston. They're winning 1-0. They're 1 each today. It's very tight at Tynecastle. So some people still fancy them. Look, if Rangers go to Falkirk tomorrow and stink the place out and win 1-0, if you're a Rangers fan, you're over the moon with that. On you go. Keep going.
David Friel says it is starting to feel a bit edgy at Celtic Park. A big goal in League 2. Spartans 1, Stranraer 2. So it means that the top two in League 2 are both a goal down at the moment.
We get calls every night from Celtic fans who acknowledge the fact that they're watching a very poor Celtic team. They hope that somehow, against all expectation, they can win the league. But no one is being fooled. It's a very poor Celtic team.
Just checking on our pal Killian Sheridan, seeing how they are getting on in the final day of the Lowland League. We were talking about the fact that Brecon have lost the league on goal difference the past 2 years. Would it happen again today? Well, they're 4-1 down to Turf United.
Brecon?
Yes.
At home?
Away.
To
Turf United. And which will be especially annoying for them because Brora Rangers are also losing their match away to Huntly.
Do you think that's the most annoying thing about that full scenario there? For me, it's the fact that he lives at the Harbour in Glasgow going to Turf. It's not about losing or winning. Where's Turf, Hugh?
I've no idea.
It must be 4.5 hours.
Listen, never mind the rural communities. How are the Bankies getting on?
I will give you an update on that shortly once I look up where I've looked up Turf, and it's on that way in maps where you can see like the different colours of the terrain, and you zoom out and it's just you keep on zooming out, it's just all green because there's just nothing surrounding it. So it is sort of northwest of Aberdeen.
3 hours 30 it says on the maps app.
Imagine putting your tracksuit on this morning and saying, I'm away to Turf to play in a big game, right? And you're thinking, by the time you get changed, what time you getting home? Sit in that timber, you want to get.
It's somewhere between Aberdeen and Elgin, essentially.
Yeah, they wouldn't pay me enough money in the world to go to Turf.
What time is it in Turf?
September.
So yeah, looks as if, well, they're not going to lose it on goal difference this year.
No.
Oh well, they will actually. If both teams are losing, they will lose it on goal difference as well. Actually, that's a good point.
And the fact is, they're 4-1 down. It's not as if they're 2-1 down and might get a chance of sneaking a draw.
There's absolutely no chance. Ayr United 1, Arbroath 0. Of course, recently departed Scott Brown as Ayr United boss, but they have the lead over Arbroath, who've been going really well this season. The only part-time team in the Championship. Jamie Murphy with the goal. And there has been a big chance at Celtic Park. It's fallen to Kelechi Iheanacho. He was the man that Martin O'Neill was saying yesterday. He's the man you want the chances to fall to. A great cross from Dalziel Maeda, but it's a sitter. Puts it wide at the front post, Kelechi Iheanacho.
Could come back to haunt them, Hugh.
Well, I keep going back to the point that is Celtic's downfall. They are completely without a goal scorer, and the fans are hoping that Iheanacho can score and hoping that Spanchara can score, but since Kyogo Furuhashi was allowed to leave the club over a year ago, they have never made a proper attempt to replace him with a quality striker, and inevitably it will come back and bite them.
Just looking at some changes that are happening for Celtic in midfield. Callum McGregor off, Luke McCowan on, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain off, Rio Hatate on. A couple of changes for St Mirren as well, Richardson and Young for O'Hara and Ayunga. And meanwhile, there have been 3 chances for Motherwell at Tynecastle in that period. Longolo off target from a Maswanise pass. Longolo, there was a shot just wide from his cross, and then Maswanise has just missed a sitter. Great play to get away from Halkett and Finlay, but scuffs the finish.
Well, the drama now is incredible because we're 15 minutes away from time up, 15 to 20 minutes away from time up. Hearts are hanging by a thread at 1-1. Celtic are hanging by a thread while winning, and Dundee United have equalised.
You are wanting an update on the Lowland League. Cover your ears, Hugh, which is hard when you've got a set of headphones on. However, Linlithgow Rose 3, Clydebank 0.
Yeah.
And Bonnyrigg Rose are losing as well. So those are the 3 teams that are fighting out at the top. There is still one match day to go after this, but it would be advantage Linlithgow Rose going into the final day as it stands, because they are beating Clydebank and Bonnyrigg Rose are also losing. There has been a goal in the Premiership as well.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Dundee United have equalised against Livingston, Christian Carrette says, with 15 minutes to go in that game. And there may be another goal, I think, to bring you.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
You were saying Aberdeen needed that second goal, and they have it through Kevin Nisbet. It was a shot off the underside of the bar, looked over the line, but it had to be checked by VAR. The goal was given. Nisbet from around 10 yards out. Aberdeen 2-0 up against the 10 men of Hibs, and looking good for all 3 points.
And that's that. So, horrible day for Hibs. They not only lose the game, they do not do enough to try and get themselves a European place, and they now lose Grant Hanley for the Edinburgh Derby, the first post-split match that they have. So, real bad day at the office for David Gray.
A real good day at the office for St Johnstone. 4-0 up now against Airdrieonians. That one came from the penalty spot from Josh McPake, who of course is going to Hearts in the summer.
It was a curious team selection last weekend from Aberdeen, from Stephen Robinson. He left Armstrong, Cameron, Nisbet all on the bench, and he went with the forward 3, Lazatic, Keskinen and Bilalovic, and they offered nothing. And he made the change at half time, to be fair, took all of them off and brought the 3 I said on. He's put the 3 of them in the team today, and it's made a difference. Nisbet with 2 goals at this time of the season. Go with your tried and trusted and the guys that know the game and can get you a result.
Well, so far it's a bad day for St Mirren, you've got to say. Brings everybody into the mix, gives Aberdeen a little bit of breathing space there. Obviously brings Dundee into it.
Yeah, Aberdeen actually move above Dundee in the table.
Brings Dundee right into it, unless he can find something late on down at Rugby Park. I just think everybody talks about the top half of the split. The bottom half's brilliant. The split's great this year, isn't it? I've always liked the split, but especially this year it's exciting.
Yeah, a good day for Dundee United as well, despite the fact that they are drawing at home to the team bottom of the table. It would mean there's a 5-point gap between 7th and 8th place.
A bit of money at that level, that's all it is a couple $100,000 or whatever it would be between 7th and 8th in terms of prize money for the club. But I just think United, their tactics and their signing policy last summer, just go abroad and sign guys from lower leagues, hasn't worked. And they're doing the same again. They're just signing guys in pre-contracts, and that's a dangerous route to go down when it's just that's your only source of players is lower leagues abroad.
With your PFA Scotland hat on, what is the percentage of Scottish players to foreign players in the SPFL? And is it worrying, whatever it is?
In the Premiership, we actually had this as a question on a tiebreaker recently, and in the Premiership it's somewhere around 35%. Yeah. It's just over a third, I think.
It's around 40 Scottish players start. When Steve Clark's won 55 players in his squad, there's only about 40 players start, and I think it's round about a third as well in terms of substitutes as well. But Dundee United have got 3 Scots regularly. St Mirren, Rangers, there's a whole host of clubs that have got very, very low Scots, and it's mainly young players. How are they going to get a chance?
Yeah.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Equaliser at Rugby Park. Dundee have got a goal back against Kilmarnock, and it's Scott Wright who came off the bench, slips it past Kellarus, and Dundee back level.
You heard it here first, Hugh.
Yeah.
I just said it about Dundee up for it. Good result. They would take a point down there and move on, surely.
Oh, aye, that'd be a good result for them. After being behind twice, I tipped a draw. I think that's a good result for Dundee. Keeps that 5-point cushion between themselves and Kilmarnock.
Derek McInnes rolling the dice again. Altena and Steinvender coming on. So the fullback area's been changed as they look to try and... I was going to say try and get that goal, but first of all they need to try and get on top in that game because Motherwell have been the better side of late.
Derek McInnes knows back-to-back draws is not what you require at this time as he approaches the post-split fixtures. So tension mounts at Tynecastle and at Celtic Park. Well, David has said about the crowd began to get restless at Celtic Park, and no wonder.
Have you seen a goal at Tynecastle, Hugh?
Yeah, for Hearts.
Right, I'm seeing a goal and I'm either...
Mystic does.
No. That sounds really silly, right? I'm seeing a goal either for Hearts or Motherwell.
Yeah.
Right? But my Motherwell one is, I think Hearts, because they're under pressure at home, need the 3 points, throwing everybody forward. I'm looking at it just now. They're playing from left to right as you come out the tunnel. They're throwing everybody forward. Motherwell, with the players and the pace, will hit them the counter-attack.
You see what he's doing here, which he does all the time. He's just spreading his predictions across many scenarios so that whatever happens, he can claim it as his prediction.
Yes.
What he's doing here is havering.
Yeah, it's a talent.
I think Hearts or Motherwell may win, but it could also be a draw.
No, but I'm putting the scenario up there. I think Hearts will be...
Could win it.
Hearts will be throwing players forward because they'll be desperate for the 3 points, and the one team you don't want to do that against, Motherwell are very good in the counter-attack.
Motherwell?
I'm saying Motherwell are going to just go and break the hearts of the Hearts, and that singer will never be asked back. He is banned.
But they had they did hit Hearts on the break, and Maswanisi, the top goal scorer in the league, blew the chance.
Yeah, but there can always be another chance round the corner here.
Hearts will win.
Life's all about second chances.
Well,
in my case,
a few several.
15th chance.
Right, Fraser, you didn't come in here to criticise me, just stay out there in the cold.
It's the only chance I get because you slaughter me and I can't speak.
It's a good point. There's absolutely no right of reply on a Saturday normally when you just hammer Fraser when he's out at a game and he can't come back.
He's absolutely loving it. He's having a
you
field
only
day.
hammer the people you respect and love.
Exactly, Hugh. Hugh. Fraser.
That's how much respect he's got for you that you can't even get your name right.
Just to let you know, I bought a new dinner suit for your evening.
Did you?
I'm going to outdo your velvet jacket.
How long have you got to return it?
Have you got?
I might not be going now.
I've got a wee tag. Just I'll wear it once and take it back.
One of my favourite PFA dinners was that sort of grey velvet jacket that you had, and you were up on stage presenting. Do you remember Mark Wilson turned up in the exact same jacket that year?
Aye, his was the cheap end of the market. It was expensive. I'm not sure because I've sent to Valerie, my wife, get a bit of stick on the radio about the velvet jacket. So if I wear it again, everybody knows. So I might turn up with something.
I'm going velvet this year.
Are you?
Yeah.
What colour?
Black with a nice black shirt as well. I'm going all sort of a Gary Player. I'm about the same age as him, but
I like that.
I'm going that way.
He's a bit fitter than you. He's 90. He's fitter than you and fitter than me.
Oh no,
looking well. I might. So black's off my list. That'd be cheeky number.
Couple of changes for St Mirren. Idowu and McMenamin come on for John and Mandron.
He was going for it.
Yeah,
he's going for it. Taking off the fullback, going with more forward players, so it might just be a wee chance for St Mirren to sneak a draw.
Yeah, Celtic getting a bit more pressure now, the way things are going. That game has kind of been swinging to and fro a little bit.
Well, as Fraser said earlier, if Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain left the country tomorrow, he could still say, I got you the winner against Livy and I got you the winner against St Mirren, and that was 6 points.
Was it? Yeah.
But you cannot go on scraping past. Always scraping past. It catches up with you.
There's still a bit of time to go in that game, isn't there?
Yeah, there should be. That was one of the later
Late
games
ones,
to get
yeah,
back
'cause of the
underway.
injury
So I
of the
think there's
goalkeeper.
probably around 7 minutes plus injury time, which there tends to be quite a bit of. Alex Gogic has just picked up a booking for clattering into Kelechi Iheanacho.
Well, that's Alex's game. He's a terrific player for St Mirren. Got a good goal against Aberdeen. He's a real stalwart for St Mirren, but prone to a yellow card.
7 minutes to go, David. Fraser saying. Or stoppage.
Yes.
Hold on a minute. We've got people in the building that does that job.
I'm just helping.
We're only here for your opinion, not your timekeeping.
Andrew's got about 10 jobs to do. I'm helping him out here. He's looking at 5 screens. He's listening to 5 people in his ear.
Try to do people a job in this. You want back in? Is that what you're?
This has got me back in the studios PTSD. But years ago with you, stuck with you, and it was only you. And it was remember the Rangers days?
Yeah.
Oh God, that was tough, wasn't it? Tough, and it was just the two of us and Rangers liquidation, all that stuff.
Oh, this could be a big moment today, and in the title race there is a VAR check for a Hearts penalty, a foul on Pierre Landry Cabore. Referee David McDermott has gone to the screen, so Matthew McDermott has gone to the screen, and we will see whether that is given or not.
Shankland 2-1.
Yes.
Well, if it is a penalty kick, I fancy Shankland to tuck it away. He's very good at it.
Who is VAR? I can't remember who it was. Matthew McDermott. Roger might know.
I'm sure Roger will tell us shortly, but they have flagged up to Matthew McDermott, and penalty has been awarded. So a huge moment at Tynecastle. Can the league leaders get in front late in the game?
Well, it's as simple as this. If they score, they win. If they don't, they won't win.
It's a big moment. Shankland's got a good record, some penalties. He misses a few.
Ward's a good goalkeeper.
A few, yeah. He might be.
Yeah, he's got the water ball.
I am writing down Shankland penalty. I'm
in
not
pencil,
even...
in pen?
Pen.
Good. Yeah, I'm with you. I think he'll score.
Well, it is a penalty, so you'll be correct in a lot of the ways there, but
he'll score.
Yeah, I've written it down. That's that then.
That's
goal.
It. Done. Just give it to him. He doesn't need to take it.
Will be, of course, Lawrence Shankland to take. He is just setting up, getting ready to take this penalty.
Press the button.
You're very confident there, Hugh.
Yep.
We'll see whether it happens.
Callum
This could
wants-
be a massive
Callum
moment in the
wants
title race. 87 minutes on the clock at Tynecastle, so there wouldn't be much time at all for Motherwell to respond if Lawrence Shankland manages to put this penalty away. He's scored 35 in his career and he's missed 8. Is his penalty record.
Yep. So that's 25%, 1 in 4. Yeah. So it's,
He's having a bit of time to wait over this
and
one.
a half.
Yeah.
But
How tough is that when you've got a bit more time to wait? Is it
tough?
Does it make it much harder?
Tough. It is. I've been in that situation.
It's a big moment in Hearts season.
Because the pressure of it being a late penalty anyway, but with everything going with it, Lawrence Shankland steps up to take.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
In off the post from Lawrence Shankland, Callum Ward went the wrong way, and that is a massive goal. It's Hearts 2, Motherwell 1.
Well, you speak of pivotal moments. There's one for you.
Yeah.
So now the pressure switches to Celtic Park. Do Celtic survive at 1-0? Plenty of minutes left there at Celtic Park, and it's touch and go time for Celtic.
Right, should we get this out the way, Hugh, before we see any potential late action? Because there is 3 to go at Celtic Park plus stoppage time.
The second half teaser with Archiplan Glasgow. Planning permission and building warrant drawings for home extension, conversion or renovation.
I have won the Scottish League Cup and the Scottish Challenge Cup. I've been managed by Ray McKinnon and Jim Jeffries, and I've played alongside Scott Severin, James Penrice and David Templeton. I am absent friend Cammy Bell.
Yeah, not involved in the studio today as he normally is on a Saturday, but deciding to bring him into the teaser instead. Cammy Bell was the answer. I do have the podium for that as well. Scott McScott in third place. Michael Donati was second, but quickest off the mark was Greg's Garden. So well done to you.
And the answer next week's quiz will be Fraser Wishart. That's how lazy they are in here.
We won't get Gordon Dale to write it, because imagine how insulting the question will be.
That would be good.
Not just insulting, actionable.
I think it might be accurate.
So the all eyes now, Celtic Park. Did they get over the line or not?
Still will be eyes at Tynecastle as well, because there still is only one goal in it between the two. Or is only one goal in it now after that penalty was scored, but there will be a huge sigh of relief from those around Tynecastle that goal has gone in. The standings at the moment would see Hearts top of the table on 70 points, Celtic on 67, and Rangers with a game in hand on 66.
And as we know, on only one weekend of this season have Celtic, Hearts and Rangers all won. Now, if Celtic win, if Hearts win, does that mean that Rangers drop something tomorrow?
How incredible would that be, Hugh?
Yeah.
They were talking about how long it was before Rangers went to top of the table last Saturday, and this weekend, if they don't get anything tomorrow, they get beat tomorrow, they could end up third. It's incredible season we've had.
I have to say, I thought Hearts were toast at 1-0. I thought, this is bad. Not been playing well recently. I mentioned the 4 subs as well. They were attacking subs, none of them really contributing much there. But Kabori comes on, is fouled in the box. But what a vital player Lawrence Shanklin is going to be between now and the end of the season. Absolutely pivotal to everything that Hearts do, and that's a big victory. The manner of victory, because Motherwell played so well, that actually probably gives them a bigger lift.
Shankland and Braga scored to get Hearts a draw at Livy, and Shankland and Braga have scored to get Hearts a win against Motherwell. That's how important they are. Since being reunited, 1 week, 4 goals, 2 each. So we wait now for the final whistles, and they have, Hearts have Shankland and Braga, but Celtic have a desperate lack of a striker.
6 minutes added at Tynecastle. There are 3 minutes added at both Pittodrie and Tannadice, 4 added at Rugby Park. We've not quite hit the 90-minute mark at Celtic Park yet. That one running behind 4 added at Celtic Park, so time for late action all over the place.
And a goal, except for Aberdeen Hibs, a goal in the other 4 will have an impact on the final result and perhaps on the championship or the relegation. So it's all to play for in the last few minutes.
Penalty to Dundee United. So it is 2-2 in that game currently, and it could be a big chance for Dundee United to win that game in stoppage time. We were saying that it would be a good day for Dundee United anyway, the way things stand, but if they manage to get that win over here's another big goal.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
We said there were 6 minutes added at Tynecastle. There's been a goal at Tynecastle, and it's for Hearts. Hearts 3, Motherwell 1. Pierre Landry Kabore off the bench. He's won a penalty. Lawrence Shanklin scored that one, and he has now scored for himself. Broke clear, left-footed finish, and Hearts are going to get all 3 points.
When the ball hits the net and you have no regret, that's Kabore.
He loves that.
When you look at the result 3-1 and people look at the result looking back, they won't know the drama that's gone on today. That's ended up a fantastic result for them.
Zach Sapsford steps up to take the penalty for Dundee United.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And he scores, which means Dundee United are 3-2 up. And a penalty to Dundee now at Rugby Park. 2-2 in that game, and they could get an injury time winner from the penalty spot. What an incredible end to today's action.
Simon is still on the pitch.
He'll be off the pitch. He comes off. He never plays 90 minutes now because
just because he runs too much.
And they take into consideration his celebrations.
He needs to leave early because he runs home. That's what it is.
Exactly. He'll be in the M8 there now. I'll need to turn back. It's only Hart Hill.
Yeah, Simon Murray came off on the hour mark for Ashley Hay.
Who takes him?
full time between Aberdeen and Hibs. I'll wait and see the result of this Dundee penalty before going there to see what happens.
I think if whoever takes it scores, I think that Dundee's safe. With their 8 points.
Oh, there's a VAR check, so we will go to Pittodrie to get the full time picture from Dave Galloway.
Yeah, full time here at Pittodrie, a very noisy Pittodrie Stadium. Aberdeen 2, Hibs 0. Aberdeen took an early grip of play as they went on the attack and took a deserved lead on 17 minutes. Olusanya latched onto a ball over the top and was brought down in the box by Hanley. David Dickinson was called to the VAR screen, awarded a penalty and gave Hanley a straight red card. Nisbet sent Salinger the wrong way with his spot kick. The Dons pushed for a second and Jensen teed up Armstrong to curl just wide of the top corner from the edge of the box. The home fans were making much noise as they cheered their dominant side on. 10-man Hibs came a little bit more into things and forced the corner, after which Obita's shot was charged down. But the Reds were on top for sure. Nisbet couldn't guide his header past Salinger when Jensen picked him out, and Jensen then somehow blasted way over the target from all of 6 yards out. Late in the first half, Gyamfi was perhaps rather lucky to survive a VAR review of his challenge on Elding, which could well have been a straight red card, but this time the ref looked at the screen and decided on yellow. Olusanya passed up a decent chance just into the second half. Milne sent Olusanya in on goal down the right, and he drew Salinger, but then shot wide of the far post. Armstrong drove wide from the edge of the D as the Dons continued to press, but Hibs did begin to see a bit more of the ball. Elding's effort was very well blocked by Mitov. However, the flag went up for a marginal offside. But for the home team, Gyamfi's drive from outside the box flew just wide of the top corner. Nisbet right in front of goal, couldn't connect with Gyamfi's drilled cross, and Arimu's angled drive just missed the target. It was 2-0 and deservedly so after 75 minutes. Nisbet's nice footwork got the better of Bahora. His powerful drive hit the underside of the bar, and a VAR review clearly showed the ball had gone well over the line. Much better from Aberdeen, a huge win for them, watched by a crowd of over 18,000. It finished here at Pittodrie, Aberdeen 2, Hibs 0.
And the full-time whistle has gone at Celtic Park. David Friel.
Full-time Andrew, Celtic 1, St Mirren 0. Duncan Nicholson's full-time whistle was met with a lot of relief inside Celtic Park. It's job done for Celtic. They've moved above Rangers into second place. A very hard-fought win here. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain's first half goal was enough for Martin O'Neill's side. They stay in the title race 3 points behind leaders Hearts. Celtic had no margin for error. They had to win this game, but credit to St Mirren. They made a real game of it and did have chances in both halves. Martin O'Neill, he's 74, he kicked every ball in the sidelines. This game will have aged him, but he will just be relieved to get the 3 points. Once again, Celtic really struggled at the top end, but that one goal was enough. Celtic started really well with the Green Brigade back. It was good atmosphere inside the stadium. Oxlade-Chamberlain an early goal disallowed before firing Celtic ahead in 15 minutes. Cal McGuire's low shot fell into his path, and his low left foot finish was perfect into the bottom corner. It was a great goal, just what Celtic needed, but St Mirren weren't sitting back. They made a game of it. They threatened through Jonah Ayunga, Miguel Freckleton and Mikael Mandron, all had efforts, but they then suffered a blow when Jamal George was forced off injured after colliding with Thomas Chanchara. Keeper was replaced by Ryan Mullen. He denied Benjamin Negan as Celtic searched for the second goal, but it didn't come. Liam Donnelly headed over for St Mirren in first half injury time, and they stayed in the game. They enjoyed a lot of pressure in the early stages of the second half. They forced a series of corners. Celtic had to defend. Ojami Sanasawa had to punch one out from under the bar. Celtic sent on Kelechi Iheanacho just to give them that spark at the top end. He probably did do more than Svinchara, but again he didn't have that finishing touch. He had 2 decent openings. He broke through for one, couldn't get his shot away, and then he made a Daisen Maeda cross at the front post. He should have scored, but he didn't. That led to a nervy ending to this game. You could sense the Celtic fans did stay with the team, but you knew it only took one St Mirren break for them to get a goal. But credit to Austin Trusty, Liam Scales and the rest of the Celtic back four. They defended well, and in the end that one goal was enough. Celtic stay in the title race. Full time, Celtic 1, St Mirren 0.
They're still checking that penalty between Kilmarnock and Dundee. Amazingly, still checking for offside on that. We'll keep you updated. Let's go to Tynecastle. Full time, Roger Hanna.
Full time, Hearts 3, Motherwell 1, and if the Jambos go on to win a first league title in 66 years, Andrew, they may well look back in the last 5 minutes here today as a crucial afternoon in that championship chase. They were behind after 50 minutes. Manny Longello scoring at the back post, and Motherwell for long periods of time dominated the ball. They caused Hearts all sorts of problems, but the Jambos somehow found another gear. Claudio Braga levelled after 61 minutes. There was a corner from Blair Spittle deep beyond the back post. Stephen Stewart Finlay headed it back across goal, and Braga hooked it home. Motherwell then missed 3 gilt-edged opportunities to go back ahead. Longello missed a chance, Elijah just missed a chance, and Tawanda Maswanisi missed a gilt-edged opportunity to put the Steelmen 2-1 up. He had got away from Halkin and Finlay, but he scuffed a weak shot wide of Alexander Schwarrow's right-hand post when he had to hit the target. You wondered at that stage if Jens Bertalascu would rue the missed opportunities, and so it proved as the game went into the last 3 minutes. A set piece into the box, Landry Kabore hit the deck. It was a clumsy looking challenge, it was a clumsy looking fall for the Jambos substitute. Not too many home supporters appealed for a penalty, but VAR official Stephen Maclean directed the referee Matthew McDermott to the screen. He went to the pitch side monitor on the far side here, and he made that sign that said penalty kick. Skipper Lawrence Shanklin took the ball. He sent Callum Ward the wrong way. He maybe had his heart in his mouth for a second as the ball went in off the inside of the post for 2-1. But that was a goal that will keep Hearts top tonight. They actually put a bit of gloss on it 2 minutes into the 6th of added time. As Kabore went through, he squared up Stephen Welsh, and he struck a low left foot shot beyond Motherwell goalkeeper Callum Ward for a third. Derek McKinney said he'd take on a last day title party, or title showdown I should say, in a car park. He's got over the first barrier today. Hearts 3, Motherwell 1.
Amazingly, just getting a decision on whether it's a penalty or not. About 7 minutes was the wait there, and it is a penalty to Dundee, so they will have a chance to win it right at the death. We'll bring you news of that after the full-time picture at Tannadice between Dundee United and Livingston. Alison McConnell.
Yeah, full time here, and it finishes Dundee United 3, Livingston 2, and this one felt cruel on Livingston as a 93rd minute Zach Sapsford penalty gave United all 3 points against a Livingston side who thought that they were on their way for a large chunk of this game to their first win since August. Lewis Smith netted a 4-minute brace to flip the game in their favour, but their hope was short-lived. They had come out and thought they were on their way to that elusive win before Christian Karetsis had levelled the game, and then Sapford stepped up with a decisive late penalty that no one really knows quite what it was given for. I'm sure Marvin Bartley will have something to say about that when we get a chance to speak to him in a few minutes. Livy had gone in at the break trailing to a Will Ferry goal, but Livingston came out with a bit between their teeth. Smith drew them level 4 minutes after the restart. Joel Newbley had picked the pocket of Yuri Iovo on the left-hand side, advanced to the byline and cut the ball back for Smith just to lash into the empty net, and the former Accies winger added his second just minutes later with a fabulous effort. Jerome Prieur was claiming the assist with the keeper's long kick out, picking out Smith as Ross Graham struggled to get back into position. Smith took a touch inside and let fly with a rasping 20-yard effort into the top corner, much to the frustration of the home support inside here at Tannadice. Then, with 15 minutes to go, United levelled it. Will Ferry was the provider this time with a corner from the left that substitute Karetsis got up to just power well past the reach of Pride. It looked as though Livingston would hang on and eke out a point, however. Sapford then stepped up to net that penalty just on the cusp of the full-time whistle. Livingston's heads were down as they left the pitch. They put so much into this one, particularly in the second period, and have left with nothing to show for it. The drop looms large now for Marvin Bartley's side as they start to run out of Premiership Road. Full-time here at Tannadice, and it's Dundee United 3, Livingston 2.
Well, last we told you at Rugby Park there had been a 7-minute wait to see whether Dundee had got a penalty. Deep into injury time, the penalty had been given. I'll let Kerry Pollock tell you what happened with the late drama.
And it was Joe Wesley who stepped up to the spot, Andrew, after a 7-minute wait, as you mentioned, and Kelrus saved his effort from the spot. It remains a point apiece here this afternoon. It was Kilmarnock who opened the scoring here today through Joe Hugo's volley finish that was quickly cancelled out by Simon Murray's powerful header at the other end of the park. He thought he had a second, but it was indeed called for offside. And then it was the home side who got themselves ahead before the break through Shinning Larsson's fine finish. It was a much quieter second 45 up until 10 minutes before the full-time whistle. Scott Wright took him off the bench, levelled up the scoreline, slipping it past Kelrus, and as we mentioned, of course, Dundee thought they were given a lifeline with that penalty of being awarded just at the end of the game here today, but Kelrus, the hero for Kilmarnock, getting his side a point, and that means there is no movement for either side in the Premiership table. In fact, it was Kelly that remained 11th, and my mistake. Dundee now fall to 9th in the table and the standings at the moment, and with that relegation lingering over Kilmarnock, wins going forward are crucial for Neil McCann's side. It finishes here at Rugby Park. It's Kilmarnock 2, Dundee 2.
What an incredible day of action in the Scottish Premiership, and now it's over to you to have your say on it. 0141 951 1025. Celtic fans, you got the win against St Mirren. What did you make of the performance? What does it do for your thoughts on that title race? We'd love to hear from you, Hearts fans and Motherwell fans, after that game at Tynecastle. A huge win for Hearts, 2 late goals giving them a 3-1 win. What about that drama at the end between Kilmarnock and Dundee? A good win for Aberdeen. And what a late win it was for Dundee United as well. We need to take a breath after all that, but straight after the break, it's over to you. 0141 951 1025. We will speak to you next.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast was brought to you by White and Mackay. A calm head amongst the chaos. 18 plus. Keep the heat and always drink responsibly.
Scottish Gas have this thing. We call it home care. We'll fix all sorts, and it's unlimited repairs. Expert engineers will solve the upset of boilers not boilering or taps that won't wet. Electrics playing tricks or a pipe that's broke. We're there for everyone, even blue furry folk. Your home won't feel booby-trapped. It'll feel just like new. Scottish Gas, taking care of things and looking after you. T's and C's apply. Excess options available per repair.
At Tesco, we know that beans
means Heinz.
And you love to ask, have you had yours? All of you.
Love it.
Hate it. And because I'm worth it. When you need low prices on brands you love, like 150 grams of Heinz beans, 12-pack of Weetabix, 250 grams of Marmite, or 700 millilitres of L'Oreal Elvive Colour Protect shampoo, look out for the Everyday Low Prices logo in-store and online. Tesco. Every little helps. Everyday Low Prices includes thousands of products across the majority of larger stores, and online prices held until the 10th of May. Selected branded products only.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast with White and Mackay, where wit, wisdom and experience still make occasional last-minute appearances. Smoothly does it.
Scottish Gas have this thing. We call it home care. We'll fix all sorts, and it's unlimited repairs. Expert engineers will solve the upset of boilers not boilering or taps that won't wet. Electrics playing tricks or a pipe that's broke. We're there for everyone, even blue furry folk. Your home won't feel booby-trapped. It'll feel just like new. Scottish Gas, taking care of things and looking after you. T's and C's apply. Excess options available per repair.
Hans, the GC here. I'm whispering because, as the Queen of social media, it's about time for my ASGMR series. So I'm recording this on my phone, and then I'm going to use Canva to edit and upload it. Oh, sorry, babes. I'll make that a whisper when I edit it. Anyways, Canva makes social media edits so easy. I'll upload this in a minute. Canva, make everything iconic. How do I stop recording, Darren?
Fly with the fry. Chicken is here. The 20 hot wings bucket. 20 succulent hot wings for $7.99. Come under our wings and feel the flavour saviour. Sensation awaits. Get the deal. Believe in chicken. KFC. Available until the 19th of April. Subject to availability. Participating restaurants only. Excludes delivery. Full T's and C's at kfc.co.uk.
It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
Get that Toyota electric feeling with the all-new, all-electric Toyota Urban Cruiser. Available with 0% APR representative and £1,500 deposit contribution. And save £1,500 with the Toyota Electrified Saving. Visit your nearest Toyota centre. Price from $29995. Available on Toyota PCP when financed through Toyota Financial Services by 30th of June 2026. Optional final payment. Indemnities may be required. See website conditions apply.
Line 0141 951 1025.
What a day it was in the Scottish Premiership. Loads to get through between now and 6 o'clock, so whatever is on your mind. 0141 951 1025 on the phones. We will try and get through as many calls as we possibly can between now and 6 o'clock, because I know you will have a lot on your minds. Hugh, what stood out to you from the action today?
Sounds as if perhaps rode their luck a little at Tynecastle against Motherwell, and Motherwell have had a wasteful day in front of goal. With Celtic, the old reservation remains in place. They do not have a reliable goal scorer. The effect that will have on them in 5 matches after the split, I think, is there to be seen. It's all very well playing at home, but you need a goal scorer, and they are desperately lacking in that department, and that, I think, could be their undoing. So, only once this season have Hearts, Rangers and Celtic won on the same weekend. Celtic got there in the end, Hearts got there in the end. Does that mean that Rangers slip up tomorrow? I personally doubt it, but that, statistically speaking, would appear to be what normally happens.
01419511025 on the phones. We are on the live stream as well, if you want to have a look at these three on in vision for whatever reason. Charles was about to speak to us on the line, but he's just dropped out there, so we will try and reconnect him back in. Elsewhere, apart from the top of the table, there was a good win for Aberdeen, there was a good win for Dundee United. And what about that late drama between Kilmarnock and Dundee?
Yeah, late drama, very late drama indeed, 7 minutes. But I think that after seeing that, Neil McCann would be quite happy to take the point, because it could have easily slipped away if Dundee had scored the penalty. 4 goals down there, absolutely brilliant game. St Mirren once again got to Celtic Park, 1-0, not the biggest disgrace in the world, but big 3 points for Aberdeen. Helped, you've got to say, and I'm not taking anything away, the fact that Hibs penalty kick, 10 men, gives you the little bit of confidence, especially at home. So that's massive. And that's going to be like the top of the league. It's going to go all the way at the end of the season for me. A lot of twists and turns, a lot of good games, and a lot of excitement ahead.
Yeah, a lot of people maybe had Aberdeen doomed last week and were saying that they were the team that were trending in the wrong direction when it comes to 11th place, but stuff just changes so quickly.
I know. It's the break, isn't it? It's not only the penalty, it's Grant Hanley being sent off. We talked about Gamalfi, the Aberdeen wing back as well. I think he was fortunate not to get a red card. So these are the breaks that can help you at the bottom of the table. And I was there last week, said earlier on the show, and Aberdeen were so poor, you did worry about them. They're still in it. I mean, they're now 5 points off the 11th place rather than 3 before today. But there's some big games coming up after the split. We're focusing, of course, at times on Rangers and Hearts and Celtic and when they play each other. But when Kilmarnock play against St Mirren and Aberdeen and Dundee, who are back in it as well, it's going to be a huge few weeks at the bottom of the table.
01419511025 on the phones. There is another big game to come in the Premiership tomorrow. Rangers away at Falkirk. We all know what happened last time Rangers went there. Russell Martin was in charge. It was his final game in charge. How tough a test and how much extra pressure is it now on Rangers that Hearts and Celtic both won today?
Bit of both. Considering that I think Rangers fans leaving Ibrox last week after the Dundee United game, going back to the top of the table since a long time, and then find themselves in third place. It just shows you the twists and turns that we keep talking about. Falkirk ain't no easy place to go. Let me be quite clear in that. I think it'll need a big performance to Rangers tomorrow. I do fancy them, I've got to say. Falkirk have had a terrific season, top 6, semi-final next week against Neil Lennon's Dunfermline, with a chance to get to Scottish Cup final as well. They'll get into that, favourites. They've got a guy banging for them that's scoring goals for fun. Be interesting to see the Rangers team tomorrow. Will they look at the two? I know Nadiri's out, but would they look at Chermiti and Majowski up top, or will they stick to the 3 with just one striker through the middle? A lot of questions to be asked tomorrow, but the pressure is on Rangers because they've got to go and win the game.
01419511025 on the phones. Laurie is a Celtic fan up first. Laurie, what did you make of that performance today?
Firstly, I would like to tell Hugh and Gordon, my good lady managed to get me a ticket for the Pavilion show on the 3rd of June, one of the few, the remaining ones, so I'm looking forward to seeing the guys.
Nice.
Anyway, regarding the game today, in truth, I thought it was quite a laboured performance. I think Celtic at times were far too passive. They allowed St Mirren plenty of time on the ball. That only changed when Anna Engels came on in the second half. I was so delighted to see him back. He gives us a presence there, a kind of a solidity, if you like, that had been lacking. The other thing I would like to say is, I'm so delighted to see the Green Brigade. I know they're much maligned in some quarters, but when they haven't been in attendance, the atmosphere at Celtic Park has been funereal. They come back today and they lit the place up with their presence. And it never escaped my notice, of course, that the players went over and greeted them at the end of the game. So it's a welcome return for them. Absolutely delighted that they're back. The place was rocking in terms of atmosphere, and that augurs well for the remaining 5 games in the league.
But for all it was rocking, Laurie, 1 goal.
Yeah, I agree with that, Hugh.
Scraping by.
Yeah, they did. But I suppose at this time of the season, Hugh, what matters, of course, and I know it's very cliched, is the result, perhaps better more than the performance. Personally, I would prefer to see Kelechi Iheanacho playing up front as opposed to Shavan Shara. I don't think the big guy offers a great deal, if truth be told. But yes, we do need to start scoring, more frequently. And the run in. Now that we're into the home stretch, to use a baseball euphemism.
And the problem is, there's no one to do it for you, Laurie.
Well, Kelechi Iheanacho has just recently come back. He's had serious injury problems. But he made himself available a couple of times today, and he was unlucky on 1 or 2 occasions. But yeah, I take your point. We'll have to score more goals to remain in contention, Hugh. I'd be daft to say otherwise.
Laurie, some people will look at Celtic's recent wins, and because there were narrow victories, people can spin it either way. People can say, it's maybe concerning that the results might not continue to keep going in that way. Other people will say it's the sign of champions. What way do you fall?
Well, you know what? Since Martin O'Neill has come back, and he's the only reason we're still in contention. There was a guy, Robbie, come on a few days ago, and he was critical of Martin O'Neill, which I found astonishing. We're still in the title race because of Martin O'Neill, not despite him. We've got a will and a determination to keep going for 90 minutes. And that'll bode well over the next 5 matches. I'm still confident, quietly confident, we will win the league. And if we do, it'll be despite the board and not because of them.
Well, thank you to Laurie. What about Josh, who's another Celtic fan? Josh, what did you make of the way that today unfolded?
Much the same vein as the majority of the Celtic wins have been going lately. They've ground results out despite not particularly playing well. It's a hallmark of a decent side. I was watching Arsenal this afternoon. They did the exact opposite of what Celtic have done. They started off with that commanding lead, and it's been kind of chipped away at. Hearts bounced back from that deficit, though, so Hearts are top with 5 games to go, and I think if you would have offered any Hearts fan that, they'd have kind of bit your hand off for it, but they showed a different hallmark today. Hearts was kind of following both games, and they fed off the atmosphere at Tynecastle. The crowd stayed with them, and it's been the same at the Celtic games as well. We're trying to rebuild that disconnect between the ownership and the fan base and what's happening on the pitch, and I think Martin's the perfect bridge, isn't he? It might not always be perfect. They might have little setbacks along the way, but they've put themselves in a good position here to compete for the title. 3 points behind, 5 games to go, and you've got to play Hearts as well. I'd have bit your hand off for that about 5 or 6 weeks ago as a Celtic man. So, yeah, Hearts deserve all the credit, though. And I think Lawrence Shankland, for me, is definitely the player of the season, despite missing a few games through injury. His Hearts is talisman, isn't he, boys? So that's kind of how I'm looking at it from the overall point of view.
The way that Hearts battled to a win against a Motherwell side who had a load of chances today, does that worry you at all, Josh, that they were able to grind out that win against a very good side?
Yeah, well, I came on the show last week and said people have been jumping on the bandwagon with Hearts, saying that they're going to bottle it and this and that. They didn't get the result last week, but for me it was a decent away performance from them and a decent enough point, given the whole complexion of the season. They built on that today and, like I said, fed off the home crowd a little bit, responded to the setback, which is always a good hallmark of a title-chasing team. I've kind of been one of these people that knew Hearts were going to stay in the race because of the way that they were playing. Throughout the season, whenever they've had little setbacks, they've bounced back the next week. And I think Lawrence has been pivotal to that. Lawrence Shankland, he has the experience. He knows where the goal is. He had the bottle to step up and take that penalty under the immense pressure as well and execute it. So with 5 games to go, we've got 3 teams in a title race, which is just kind of monumentally fantastic for the Scottish game as a whole. I'm actually enjoying watching the Scottish League more than the Premier League, the English Premier League, and I think that's testament to how brilliant this title race is.
You're right. Many people say they prefer watching our Premiership to the Premier League in England, but we'd be kidding ourselves on and have no perspective if we didn't say it's really exciting, but it's not high in quality. But it's very, very exciting. And to go back to Celtic, that when they go away to Hibs, for example, you're definitely going to need a goal. And they are sadly lacking in that department. And when they play Motherwell, they'll definitely need a goal. When Rangers and Hearts go to Celtic Park, whether it's Chermiti, Braga, Shankland, Majowski, whoever, you have the feeling the opposition will definitely score, but will Celtic?
Hugh's saying maybe a lack of quality, and people will maybe say that about Celtic's performance today. People will maybe say it about Hearts' performance today as well. But as the games tick down, they've only got 5 games to go each. All they can really do is win at the moment, and it's another 3 points on the board, another 3 points closer to where they want to be.
Yeah, and people are going to focus on Celtic scoring the early goal, and in years gone by, you say, oh, here we go, St Mirren could be in the receiving end of a bit of a hiding, and it's 1-0, and it's grinding out results, and it's criticism. But Hearts, although they won 3-1, and as I said earlier, that's what you'll see in the history books. It sounds, from Roger Hannah's reports and from what we're hearing, that Motherwell were really unlucky. So Hearts ground out a result as well, and I don't think the supporters of the old firm go at the moment thinking they're going to be entertained with rousing football and blowing teams away. I think there's a realism around that this is a title race like no other, and though Celtic have won 13 out of 14 titles, it's been nothing like this. When Rangers won the title, they ran away with it during the COVID times. So it's new ground for Celtic and Rangers as well. There's so many new players, and I think fans just understand this season has just been so different from all others. Both teams are changing their manager. Celtic changed the manager twice. It's just about getting results and getting to the end of the season. And I disagree slightly with Hugh and with Gordon about tomorrow. I've got a feeling Falkirk might get something tomorrow, and then all of a sudden Hearts going into the last 5 games are 3 points ahead. I think it could be a draw tomorrow.
See, picking up on the point there Hugh's making about where did Celtic get the goal? They've got the second top goal scorer in the league with 19. I know that you look at, for instance, he's a midfield player and you want your strikers to score. I get that. Rangers strikers aren't hitting the heights scoring goals. I think where Hearts have got a slight advantage, a big advantage, is they two up top, you keep them fit to the end of the season, they'll bag you goals. But if you look at the overall goals, I think Rangers are top with about 60, Celtic are on about 59. So I know what you're saying about, because I've said that centre forwards win you games. You would love your centre forward, if you're Celtic, to start banging in goals, but you still get a guy that has got you 19 goals.
But it is strange though, Daz, that the expectation here, we're talking about Iheanacho being the number one choice, and I think he's a good player, but he's been injured for so long, and we're now talking about wrapping him in cotton wool for the last 5 games. There's a guy who's had injury problems, muscle problems, which can come back at any time, and that's who people are going to hang their hat on for Celtic to go and win the league. So it's different times, and 80 points might win you the league, whereas you'd have to have at least 90 in previous years. So it's just a strange time, but it's exciting.
Thank you to Josh. 0141 951 1025. More of your calls to come, and on top of that, we will hear from some of the managers involved in today's games as well.
Lots of men out there want to feel more confident in the bedroom. In fact, 1 in 5 men have issues as they get older. That's why MedExpress is here to provide support in minutes through a free online consultation. By completing the short online consultation, they'll suggest the right treatment for your concerns, all from the comfort of your home. And you know you're in the right place. They've been one of the country's leading online pharmacies since 2013, with over 1.5 million customers. Their UK-based clinical team will support you every step of the way and send your medication straight to your door. And the best bit is, the whole process is online, so you don't even have to visit your GP. So no more planning or pressure, just confidence when you need it most. Visit medexpress.co.uk to check your eligibility and get 30% off with the code SuperScoreboard. That's SuperScoreboard, all one word, when you check out at medexpress.co.uk.
You're listening to the Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast, the home of Scottish football, and it's proudly sponsored by White & Mackay Triple Matured Whisky. Now let me make one thing crystal clear right from the start. If you've tuned in tonight looking for balance, for moderation, or for a gentle exchange of views where everyone nods politely and agrees to disagree, you are categorically in the wrong place. But if you've tuned in because you know Scottish football isn't about balance, it's about belief, it's about tribal loyalty, and it's about being absolutely convinced you're right, even when the evidence is screaming otherwise, then you are exactly where you should be. So get comfortable, pour yourself a dram, and brace yourself, because at some point tonight, something you hear will annoy you. This is the Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast with White and Mackay triple matured whiskey. Smoothly does it.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like payroll manager.
Hi, I was just checking my payslip and it's all in Japanese yen.
Yes, you're welcome.
Sorry?
Given the exchange rate between the pound and the yen, you're technically a millionaire now. Don't spend it all in one place.
I can't really spend it anywhere.
This is a job for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. So the next time you need someone to get the job done right, get matched with quality candidates with an Indeed sponsored job. Visit Indeed.com/nexthire and sponsor your job today.
It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
Get that Toyota electric feeling with the all-new, all-electric Toyota Urban Cruiser. Available with 0% APR representative and £1,500 deposit contribution. And save £1,500 with the Toyota Electrified Saving. Visit your nearest Toyota centre. Price from $29995. Available on Toyota PCP when financed through Toyota Financial Services by 30th of June 2026. Optional final payment. Indemnities may be required. See website conditions apply.
Games are over. The talking begins. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Lots to get through in the Scottish Premiership today from what happened around the grounds. Celtic and Hearts getting the wins at the top of the table. Hearts 3-1 over Motherwell. It was a 1-0 win for Celtic at home to St Mirren. Wins for Aberdeen and Dundee United. A draw between Kilmarnock and Dundee. Let's go back to the phones. 0141 951 1025 if you want to get involved. Hugh is a Motherwell fan in Lanark. Hugh, what's on your mind this evening?
Good afternoon, gents. How are we?
Good, thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, I was wanting on last week just about VAR refereeing decisions, and I see that Mull again today has been done with another VAR decision against us. Last week against Falkirk, the most blatantest penalty you've ever seen in your life, not checked by VAR. And there was another incident in the game when Sparrow got brought down the edge of the box and he got a yellow card for it. He's through goal, he's a one-on-one with the keeper. There's another incident, it should have been another red card. And today, where Welsh gets a penalty awarded against them, is baffling. I've had a Hearts supporter phone me to say that was the worst decision he's seen in his life. A Hearts supporter. Now, is this payback for what Slattery done? This is what you've got to question now, because 2 weeks after Slattery's incident gets his ban, we then find ourselves getting decisions going against us like this, with VR not even intervene. The carry on with Kilmarnock today, what was the carry on with their decision? Was it 8 minutes for a VAR decision? I mean, what is happening with VAR? It's an absolute joke now. It's laughing stock.
I think you have to park the idea of an agenda against Motherwell, what Callum Slattery did and what he was punished for doing, neither here nor there, so far as the award of a penalty against Motherwell today. I do agree that the length of time it took with regard to the Dundee penalty award, for me, if you take 7 or 8 minutes to arrive at a decision, then you're just looking for something that probably isn't there. So for me, that there has to be a time limit. 7 or 8 minutes is ludicrous. VAR is despised in Scotland, it's despised in England, it's despised the world over, I suspect. But it's here to stay.
I don't think there's a conspiracy. I'm not with you in that, but where I will agree with him 100%, last week against Falkirk was one of the worst decisions I've ever seen.
What about this week? What about the penalty that Hearts were awarded?
I've only quickly seen it, and I'm with you. I don't think that's a penalty kick.
No.
I also said
just to paint the picture for people that haven't seen it, Pierre Landry Cabori is lying on the ground at the time, and he gets his head to the ball, I think, but is then kicked in the head while he's on the ground. How do you see it, Fraser?
For me, I thought it was a penalty.
Dangerous play?
I mean, if you put your head down, you're obviously going to get a foul against you for dangerous play. But I don't know what Kabori can do when he's lying on the ground, having gone for the ball. He's fallen over, and the ball comes towards him. He's going to just flick it on, which he did. He didn't dip his head down, which would be different. And I thought that, I don't know if it's Stephen Welsh, but one of the defenders. But it was a bit difficult to see because we've only seen a very, very brief clip. But I think it does highlight the issues around VAR. And to be fair to the VAR and the referees and Willie Collum, who I speak to regularly, they've not got the tools. We've not got enough cameras. I've never been a fan of VAR from before it came in. I've been quite consistent. I just think it slows the game down. Has it made the game better? Has it made the game more enjoyable? And this kind of drive we have in football to have every single decision correct, it's just wrong for me. But it's here to stay, and we're going to get corners looked at in the World Cup. Maybe in Scotland next year they've got a choice. We're going to have second yellow cards looked at. We'll still be playing at this time. We're nearly 5:30.
Fraser, I back your argument up. We've not got enough cameras. We've probably got a cheap version of it, right? But I don't back up the situation that
clear decisions.
Everybody see everybody. I can't understand it even to this day why that was not a red card and a penalty kick last week against Falkirk.
I've said to you earlier on today, Andrew, that the Aberdeen player who, for me, strikes a Hibs player on the back of the head, the referee went to the screen and came away thinking that's not an ordering off. It baffles me. However, it's the same for all clubs, to address Hugh's point that he thinks that there's some sort of agenda here because of Callum Slattery. It's bad for all clubs. It was sold to the country as maximum efficiency, minimum interference. That is not the case.
I was just wondering, Hugh, the caller, did I read somewhere that Motherwell supporters were polled about whether they would keep VAR or not? And the poll was quite comprehensive against it.
Club or anything like that pulled it. It was like a supporter put it on X, and that's how it's came out.
Yeah.
But again, I don't mean there was a conspiracy against Muller. I'm not getting that. But you just think, wait a minute, 2 weeks, two decisions that are totally wrong in my opinion. And the first one was so blatant, it's unbelievable, especially with VAR not making an intervention. Now, for me, VAR is there to assist referees, not to re-ref the game. And I think that's the problem with the game now. They're just saying, oh, stop this, come over and look at this, come on. If the referee makes a decision, and I think we'd won another week there, we could clearly see it was a penalty all day long, and he's not giving it. They're re-refing it, and you think, no, don't re-ref it. If it's a clear and obvious area, yes. If the referee's made the decision, it's not clear and obvious, just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Just please stop it. It's now, I said, that's what I was saying about the Kilmarnock game today. 8 minutes. It's as if they're waiting to see, as Hugh says there, let's see if we can find something. I actually find that, I think they're trying to find a reason not to award the goal now.
I think
we want to go back 3 and 4 places, say, could we not, what happened in this? Let's not award the goal. Totally wrong in my opinion.
The thing is, we don't really know the full story of the Kilmarnock Dundee one. It is a really long stoppage, which everyone at the game is going to be frustrated by, but you'd imagine there was maybe just so many different things that needed to check in terms of whether it was a foul, whether there was an offside in the build-up, all these types of things, and the officials will be trying to get every single part right, but the longer it goes on, the more agitated people get. They then start wondering, well, is it clear and obvious if they're having to, and then it ends up being that the decision stands in the end.
We'll get an explanation. It might have been a technical problem with the technology, who knows, but whatever the reason, is 8 minute stoppage making the game better? I mean, Joe Wesley took the penalty, probably did a warm up before he took the penalty, but I'm with you, Hugh, the caller, because I think you're right. Go with the referee's decision unless the incident didn't happen. I mean, during the week, watching Liverpool against PSG, Konate runs through behind, I think maybe Dewey, I'm not sure which player it was, and he shoves him in the back, and I thought it was a penalty, but the referee said no, and VAR moved quickly saying, okay, you can see why the referee maybe said no, back his decision, back the decision on the part, back the referee, allow them to make that decision, unless it's so obvious that it didn't happen, and then you step in. But I think we are so concerned over the title race, over relegation, particularly title race, that every single decision has been examined to the nth degree to try and get away from criticism, and it's not working because there's still mistakes being made, because most decisions are subjective. Follow the referee. If he gives a penalty, support him. If the same instant he doesn't give a penalty, support him. Move on quickly and let the game flow.
In terms of performance, Hugh, not the result you would have wanted. Were there plenty of positives in there though from a Motherwell perspective, even though there'll be the end frustration?
Oh, definitely. I think, again, just like how we'd been all the season, not taking our chances when we had chances. I mean, Masferisa, the turn he done against Talcott and that today, he turned them inside out, 1-1 with the keeper. He's got two choices. He goes for a goal, which is fine because he's the top goal scorer. Let him go for it. Or he passes the ball 3 yards to Longello, who's got a tap in. And I don't have an issue with him having a shot. I really don't, because, as I said, he's top goal scorer. He's on the form. Let him go for it. But that's the sort of those decisions that have not failed us this year, but stopped us obviously progressing. We should have probably been 3-4 up at that point. Just not taking chances, not making the right decisions at the end. But again, I am more than happy with how the team's performed this year. I don't think any Motherwell fan's going to complain about that. I just want us to, hopefully we can push on next year and go a little bit further. I'm all right with that.
Well, thank you to Hugh. What about Raja, who's a Celtic fan in Cardonald? Raja, what are you thinking?
Yeah, that's a very lucky result today, brother. I mean, it's kind of hard fought, but it was never in doubt. But my main point is, I heard Hugh Keevins saying the other day that Celtic only got 1% chance of winning the league or something. And today he was saying that because Celtic won't win the league because they don't have a striker. But how many strikers have scored for Rangers or Hearts? No,
I mean, Hearts have strikers that are in form, but you would argue the same point for Rangers, the out-and-out goal scorers. Yusuf Jermiti's showing up the big games, but not week to week. Ryan Nadiri, now injured, only has one league goal, I think. Bojan Miovski has, 11 goals for the season, but hasn't been playing regularly or scoring regularly.
Raja come on to make a point about what I said about Celtic. I don't believe Celtic can win the title because of the lack of a goal scorer. I do believe that when Rangers and Hearts go to Celtic Park, there's more chance of them winning the matches because of Celtic's almost.
So what's the difference with Rangers then? Because if Rangers don't have an out-and-out goal scorer that's scoring consistently, are you putting it down to the fact that Yusuf Chermiti's showing up in the big games, that he could score against Celtic and Hearts, or is it the fact that, their last two games they scored 8 goals, 8 different goal scorers?
If I had a choice tomorrow between Yusuf Chermiti and Thomas Franchara, I would take Chermiti. They are both the same in that they require a lot of chances to score, but if Thomas Franchara is your best chance of winning the league, you've had it. And Celtic, and I know that Gordon DL is going to go on about Benjamin Negron, but he didn't score today, he didn't score last week. But he
has the second top goal scorer in the league, so the goals still count, don't they?
Yeah. I have 5 games to go, post-split. For me, Celtic's lack of a goal scorer and the awful recruitment, which has left people like Adamu, Mvuka, Balakwisha somewhere where no one can see them. Ultimately, for me, that will cost Celtic the title.
So what's your percentage chance then, as Raja was asking, of Celtic winning the title at this point?
Still on 0.
Yeah, I'm still on 0, yeah.
Zero. Despite the fact that Celtic are just 3 points behind Hearts with 5 games to go, they still need to play each other. You're giving them 0% chance.
The essence of this programme is personal opinion. You can berate, you can gang up, you can do whatever you like. I said 0, I stand by 0.
Well, you've got to pick a team, so there's no point in putting 20%, 60%. There's no point in that. You may as well just go out on a limb. Look,
who's going to win the league then?
I don't know. I've got to say, I think that it's one of those that.
I thought it was going to be one of those 3. I thought that's what you were going to say.
Well,
there.
I probably was
going to pick a team, but I'm not going to pick one.
I'll put a 33% chance on every team.
I'll be honest with you. I went at the beginning of the season. I went with Celtic, right? I'm not very confident. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was thinking they've got to finish third. They've got themselves right back into the mix. I know what Hugh's saying, take on board. They're getting over a line, but so were Hearts. And even today, Hearts, I thought, still got over the line. Late penalty kick, okay, get some late goal that looks a bit better. Rangers at home have been banging in goals, but not from their front players, right? I think they've scored about 18 goals. About 18 goals in the last 7-8 games or something at Ibrox. So they'll need to do it away from home. So I still think a lot of twists and turns. But just because Celtic now are sitting with 3 home games, then I think it does give them a slight advantage. And I still think they'll be right in the mix there, of course. But I'm sitting totally on the fence trying to talk myself out of this, because I'm going to change my mind next week.
Can't have that, Hugh.
And that's why you can come back. If Celtic win the title, there'll be an avalanche of calls here. But at least I'll give you an opinion.
Raja, what percentage chance are you giving Celtic after today?
Hey, brother, I'm going to be honest, right? Hearts were, until I think about 83%, sorry, no, you got me in the percentage now. Sorry, 83 minutes, right? Sorry. Right, and I think they were drawn 1 each, weren't they?
Yep.
And then Hearts got a penalty, something in black, and then Celtic kind of hanged on there. I'm an honest person, right? But I think Rangers might draw points tomorrow. But the main advantage is for Celtic to have the 2 games at hand at Parkhead, home games. I think that will switch it towards Celtic.
They've lost 5 times at Celtic Park this season.
Listen, what has happened before that doesn't matter. If you can lose a game last night before that, next day you can win the game 10-0. I mean, Hugh, you're just assuming things. No?
Roger's allowed to have his opinion, isn't he?
No matter how wrong it is, he's entitled to have his opinion.
Well, thank you to Raja. 01419511025. Final chance to get your calls in, and hopefully we'll start hearing from some of the managers involved in today's games as well.
After they play, you have your say. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Not much time left. Get your calls in on Clyde One Super Scoreboard. A big day of action in the Scottish Premiership. It's not over for this weekend either. Falkirk host Rangers tomorrow. Celtic and Hearts both winning today. So can Rangers respond tomorrow, or will Falkirk cause a bit of a shock of their own? Scott is a Rangers fan in Bells Hill. Scott, what have you got for us this evening?
Hi, good evening, panel. How are you doing?
Good.
Hi, Scott. Good to talk to you. First time caller.
Good to hear from you.
I sat and watched the Hearts-Motherwell game today, and the refereeing from Mr McDermott was absolutely shocking. VAR, I don't like VAR. That's how I stopped watching the English Premiership when it was brought in, just before it was brought in Scottish football. But some of the refereeing decisions in that game were absolutely shocking.
What in particular?
Off a player, and it goes to a Motherwell, comes off a Motherwell player for a throw in, and it goes against Motherwell. Everything was just shocking with Matthew McDermott today. The whole game, I watched the full game, and it was just totally shocking refereeing from Matthew McDermott.
What did you think about the penalty decision? We had a Motherwell fan on earlier on that wasn't happy with it.
No, I'm not happy with it either. I listened to Fraser, and all due respect to Fraser, he said it's a penalty. I don't understand how that's a penalty when the guy's lying on the ground and the defender is trying to clear the ball in real time.
I don't think it's a penalty either.
No.
You showed it to me now, and I don't think it's a penalty. But that's the nature of football. You put 4 people in a room, and 2 will think one thing and 2 will think another. Also, with regard to Matthew McDermott, I know that he's not the favourite referee of many people, but again, that's not unusual either. From the beginning of time, people have criticised referees, and the standard at the moment, I think, is questionable. However, Matthew McDermott, like all referees, will have good games and bad games like players, and I haven't seen the Hearts-Motherwell game in full, therefore I don't know about the standard he reached or did not reach today. But referees, that's what they're there for, to be shot at.
What do you think the penalty comes down to? Is it endangering an opponent, being kicked in the head? Because Kabori sort of bumped in the back when he goes for the initial ball. He goes down, the ball falls towards him, and he manages to get his head onto it, sort of flick it backwards, and as the Motherwell defender goes to try and clear the ball, Kabore gets there first, kicks him in the back of the head. You think it is a penalty?
No, I don't think it is.
You don't think so?
No, I'm with you. I don't think it is. Look, it's very difficult for us. We're in the studio. We don't sit and watch the game coming in from Tynecastle. So we've only had a quick glance at it. But in first glances, for me, that is never a penalty kick. I know what Fraser point is, and obviously the referee was sent over to the screen. He decided it was. It was a big moment. It might be a massive moment in the title race, but listen, that's nothing to do with Hearts. They gave the penalty, and Shanklin put the penalty away, and Hearts went on to get a 3-1 victory and a very valuable 3 points. But I do, listen, the one thing I've always said for years in here, and I've get criticised non-stop, I have backed referees to the hill, because I thought it was the most difficult job to do. You could hardly win. We get calls every single night criticising decisions, whether it be a big decision, small decision, anything. But I've got to say, this year I think the refereeing standard's been really poor, and it highlighted it for me last week, and it was Hugh, the Motherwell fan, that come on and spoke about it at Fir Park. How a referee and VAR don't get involved in that is totally beyond me.
I think that's one of the problems for referees, is that VAR was sold to us. I remember Ian Maxwell standing and saying to us, but now they'll get 98.35% of decisions right. That's just not true, because the decision there is neither right nor wrong, because we disagree on it. It's just purely about opinion. But now, because the referee's got a chance to go to VAR, and you've got the referee, you've got two assistant referees, you've got the fourth official, you've got 2 in the VAR room, and even then, if they get it, which in my opinion was wrong or right, whatever else, especially when it's wrong, then there's even more criticism of referees. And that for me is that I don't think VAR is helping referees, because if they have to go to the screen and change the decision, they're getting it wrong as well. So I think it's just highlighting things, and it's going back to the whole VAR in general. Has it made the game better? Has it made it better for referees? Has it made it better for supporters? Absolutely not. I mean, the fans at Rugby Park, 8 minutes to wait. For whatever reason it was, 8 minutes. Wow.
The Rangers win tomorrow, Scott?
Yeah, 100%. I quite agree with Fraser there as well about VAR. But what I will say is, it's not just the referees, there's 4 officials. Not just the referee, but he's got to make a decision. I get that. But that refereeing display today is the worst I've seen in 50 years of watching Scottish football.
Strong words from Scott. Thank you to him. What about Charlie, who's a Celtic fan in Greenock?
Hi, Parnell. How you doing? He's all right. I was wanting to talk about Celtic. I've been sitting on the phone the last couple of minutes here, actually just engrossed in the conversation, and I think it's been highlighted this week. I don't know if it's been discussed on the show. Apologies if I'm going over old ground. But what is it, 180 officials at the World Cup? There's officials coming from teams or countries that have never made it before. And there's no Scottish officials at the World Cup. And I think that's the most damning indictment from a country that's supposed to have invented the rules. It's the most damning indictment I've seen. I've seen a lot of bad decisions. Never mind your VAR, which went on a lot this season. I think the reason that the officials, there's no Scottish officials going, it's not just the big decisions. It's the match influencing. It's the wee decisions, and you're incredulous. You're going, come on, that's a free kick, no. And it goes, it's the amount of wrong decisions. And we've reached an all-time low. So what do we do? Do we get new referees? Do we bring in... What are we going to do? Are we going to go to a German third tier and ask them for their referees? You know what I mean?
The thing is, you'll look around Europe and you'll find complaints in every single country about their own referees, but, and I won't lie, I have no idea how the selection process is for referees being picked for major tournaments, but 180 referees going to the World Cup and there isn't a Scottish officiating team there. Isn't a great look, is it?
No, it's not. But the question of referees and bad decision making has been delivered since the game began. I think it intensified with the introduction of VAR. Online activity has intensified criticism of referees. The fact that there's no Scottish official in America is an indictment of the standard here. But the general question, the standard is low, and Charlie's asking, do we just get new referees? If you brought in a whole raft of new Scottish referees tomorrow, they would just get criticised in the same way.
What happens when people don't like their decisions and we need to dip into another market?
Does MD watch English Premier League at times?
I know.
And they're full time. They've no excuses whatsoever. And the standard down there is poor as well.
The trouble here is that in Scotland, people think that referees do things with a purpose. They do it to that team or that player. We can't cure the country of the way it feels about these matters. But yeah, the refereeing standard is poor, but you don't change it by throwing out all of the current referees and bringing in a new crop, because they'll be poor as well in the eyes of supporters.
Charlie, what has today done for your belief that Celtic can win the title?
I thought Celtic actually played some really good football, especially in the first half today. Well, it's what I think we've been seeing for weeks. The boy up front is, for me, should not be on the park for Celtic. The boy to Manchara shouldn't be on the park. But Celtic were playing a lot of good football today. And listen, they pull in another 5 1-0 wins would take Celtic to the title. And that's so the point why I called today was about Hugh. Right, because I listened to him last week and actually part of me agreed with him, right, I need to be honest, but I was still laughing. Celtic are now within points of the top of the league. How can he say they have no chance? Because that was his words. It wasn't a 1%. Hugh said Celtic have no chance. Does he still think that?
Which part of what I said did you agree with?
You're correct. Last week, we were rotten. Celtic don't have strikers. Chavanchara's never a striker, and they're relying on goals. As was mentioned earlier on the show, teams are relying from goals around the park, and that's the way it seems to be. We seem to be scrambling across the line for wherever we can get a wee goal for. And
but your hope is based on the hope that Celtic can scramble over the line, as you put it, 5 times in a row.
Yes. Well, with the, I don't want to say the re-emergence of Iniacho, but he's certainly coming more to the fore. With Engels coming back, with Hearts taking a wobble. I know they got away with it today, but they've taken a wobble again. And Hearts and Rangers are going to play each other in Game 2 of the split. Mm-hmm. There's a chance Celtic will be top Game 2 or Game 3 of the split. There is a chance of that. And how can you write Celtic off, Hugh?
It's quite straightforward. I don't think they've got a good enough team to win the league. And if Celtic do win the league, I'm a mug. If Celtic finish second or third, I'm absolutely correct.
I just know that someone is going to clip up that very short I'm a mug of you saying that, and that's just going to be used on Twitter for the rest of the time. As I say,
the essence of this programme is you give an opinion unless you're Gordon Deere. So, in my opinion, Celtic don't have a team good enough to win the league title. I'll get back to you at 5 o'clock on the evening of May 16 and we can talk about it.
Well, thank you to Charlie. Very quickly, Hugh, how do you sum up what we saw today and what we may see tomorrow?
Celtic and Hearts get there in the end. Rangers have to go there from the beginning tomorrow and assert themselves against a very good Falkirk side. History this season tells you that Celtic, Rangers and Hearts have only won on one weekend. The 3 of them have won their games on only one weekend. Therefore, the odds say Rangers drop something tomorrow. But sometimes the odds can be wrong.
Well, thank you to Gordon Dalziel, who's already halfway off his seat because he's got the Masters to watch later on. Thank you to Fraser Wishart, who has somehow put up with Gordon Dalziel for the last 4 hours. And thank you to Hugh Keevins. But most importantly, thank you to you at home for listening in throughout the day, watching on the live stream, getting involved on social media and the phones. The action is not done for the weekend, though. It's an early kick-off tomorrow between Falkirk and Rangers, and we'll bring you all the reaction. I'll be in this studio with Tony Watt and Alex Ray from 4 o'clock until 7 o'clock. But it is the GBX that's up next.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast was brought to you by White and Mackay. A calm head amongst the chaos. 18 plus. Keep the heat and always drink responsibly.
This season, I want to feel it from the start, from the whistle, from the first touch. Want to beat the odds, want to take an early lead, want to see why he costs so much money, want to shout pen before the ref has even called it, want to see the call go our way for once. I want to hear their lot go quiet, want to see them leave early, want to drop into the group chat to tell them, I've seen the future, want to hear them agree, and if not I'll say, want to bet? Bet Fred. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Fly with the fry. Chicken is here. The 20 hot wings bucket. 20 succulent hot wings for $7.99. Come under our wings and feel the flavour saviour. Sensation awaits. Get the deal. Believe in chicken. KFC. Available until the 19th of April. Subject to availability. Participating restaurants only. Excludes delivery. Full T's and C's at kfc.co.uk.